Chapter 57:57. Chapter 57:57. No matter what, now that he has come here, Ing will naturally not return without success. Especially at this time, when Xian was fighting, it was even more impossible for him to escape without a fight. The eyes of the two supreme masters who do not belong to the conferred God world met at this moment. Win, great emperor of the immortal kingdom, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Xian said slowly, but this sound is like a hongzhong roaring between heaven and earth. Above the void, Ing frowned slightly. He never expected that the other party could call him by his name directly, which meant that the other party knew his origin. To be called lonely in front of me, do you have the qualifications? Ing Fan asked. Since he was an enemy, there was nothing to care about, and Ing naturally assumed a tough stance. Oh, you have to be clear. I am now the master of the great merchants. The world, the mountains and rivers are all my world, but in the world of my widow, you are the foreigner. Xian confronted each other. It has to be said that the courage he displayed at this time is also unparalleled, showing the domineering king of the king to the fullest. Although Wenzhong and other high-ranking officials in the court were full of surprises, they didn't understand where the enemy in front of them came from. And they were even more puzzled as to why Xian knew the details of the opponent. But when Xian said those words, they felt awe in their hearts. Any doubts are gone. This is their king, dare to boast in the world, unprecedented in eternity. Even the 3 emperors and 5 emperors may not have such courage. In the void, Ying's face was expressionless. He was indifferent to Xian's response, and would not be moved by his words at all. Moreover, at their level, things like emotions have long been like passing clouds, and Xian has long been as hard as stone, and it is not something that can be easily disturbed by any force. Of course, the same is true for Xian. It seems that Long Fei miscalculated many things. The Emperor Xian, in front of him, is clearly a detached person. Ing thought slightly in his heart. Ing knew about Xian, but what he learned from Long Fei was that Xian was no longer the original Xian, but a spokesperson who was pulled over by a man named Dahai from unknown time and space. Seeing Long Fei's contemptuous attitude, he thought it was just an ordinary existence. Now, it looks like a big mistake. It's my preconceived ideas. For so many years after I have transcended, I rarely feel a sense of crisis. This also makes me no longer have the awe of the power in this world. Ing pondered in his heart, feeling something. But things have come to this point. It is impossible to go away. They have already come here. If they turn around and retreat, it is tantamount to a defeat, and a detachment is naturally not allowed. Thinking of this, he looked at Xian. I have a method which I obtained after I transcended. Really? I also have a method which I realized after I became a king. Xian responded. As the two confronted each other, the whole world began to change, and the whole world began to change. It seemed that two wills were colliding in nothingness. At this moment, everyone in the field changed expression. Not just Wenzhong and the others, even the soldiers of the immortal kingdom with emotions on their faces, dignified and depressed. Even Bai Qi and Wang Jian, the two supreme beings of the immortal kingdom, looked solemn at the moment. Then let's fight, Ing said. Then let's fight, Xian responded. In the next moment, the eyes of the two directly collided in the void. At the moment of the collision, the picture in front of the two of them changed instantly, as if everything had disappeared. The surrounding pictures seemed to be in a state of flow, constantly changing, whistling between the sky and the earth, never stopping. Moreover, it is a state of acceleration which makes people confused. And between Ing and DXIN, there is no distinction between heaven and earth. They look at each other as equals and stare at each other. This method, all living beings are like dragons. Ing opened his mouth. His eyes were like eternal pupils shining through the world. My law, the power of the celebrity king. Dishin responded. As soon as the words fell, the figures of the two moved at the same time. Ing raised his hands, and countless strange scenes appeared around the nothingness, and countless creatures came murmuring. And with the mighty sound, countless lights gathered in the void, and finally condensed into a black dragon. In the next moment, the black dragon coiled down, circled around Ing, and then disappeared in an instant, flying directly into Ying's body. And in the next moment, Ing punched out. Similarly, DXIN was not idle while Ing was using this terrifying method. His eyes seemed to travel across eternity, and images from countless years ago appeared behind him. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors worked hard and forged ahead. The sun, the moon, and the sky quenched the human race, and it lasted for a long time. Those scenes seemed to be like the flow of history constantly changing. But in the end, the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors shot at the same time, and one after another of terrifying power turned into a mortal light and poured into DXIN's body. In other words, DXIN at this time carried the fusion of all the powerful human beings in the history of the human race. In the next moment, DXIN also punched the void. Boom, boom, boom. The strength of the two erupted almost at the same time, and they collided together in nothingness. And at this time, on the endless sea of blood, Long Fei fell into silence. System, something is wrong. I always feel something is wrong. Long Fei said. After returning from Shichi, Long Fei's feeling became more and more intense. It is clear that this time the 3-person competition was initiated by himself. But now it seems that is not the case at all. It seems that Long Batian seems to be more than himself. System. The system didn't respond. Although it jumped a bit, it remained silent. System, talk, you're so silent, I'm so flustered. System? Long Fei's manner of speaking was very distasteful to Long Fei. According to Long Fei's habit, it is absolutely impossible to say such words. To be indifferent to life and death, to do it if you don't accept it, this is Long Fei's personality. How can he be so hypocritical? It's just that now Long Fei rarely showed melancholy, as if he was caught in a mystery. System, to be frank, do you know the whole cards of Long Batian? And hi, so you created a system to summon lying? Long Fei continued to ask. The initial excitement was gone. When the system was successfully created, he summoned Ing over, thinking that his round was already settled, and he would just lay down and win. Hands in pockets, no opponent. It can be seen that Long Batian's arrogant appearance made Long Fei wake up instantly. Not at all. Long Batian is too arrogant, as if he has an absolute trump card. Even Long Batian is like this. So the sea will be normal? Impossible. Especially at this time. He felt that Ying's conquest of Lutai might not fail, but he would definitely not succeed either. Ding! The player is thinking too much. The system finally responded, but it was neither salty nor light, and it was useless. Ding! The system suggests that players are completely unfounded. You have to have confidence in the great emperor of the immortal kingdom. Don't forget, he is not only the great emperor of the immortal kingdom, he also controls the system. The system responded. Long Fei sneered. Don't put gold on your face. At this level, is the system useful? The real high-end game is a test of personal combat power, which is definitely not ordinary power. Long Fei said, these words are not alarmist. A unique, if desired, can end the war in seconds. Chapter 57-58. Chapter 57-58. He tried his best to maximize the calamity of the divine power, just to devour the cause of the calamity and find a way to disintegrate the calamity of the apocalypse. But now, he felt a little out of control, a little out of his control. Now, it is no longer a question of how many gods died. Instead, the battle has been upgraded, and it has directly been promoted to the only level. Although Long Fei thought that he would be robbed from the very beginning, he didn't think so soon. The system fell silent. He didn't deny what Long Fei said, because it is. At the level of Long Fei, the contest between them is no longer a matter of quantity, but absolute combat power is the root that affects everything. Ding! The system can be upgraded to make the Emperor of the Immortal Kingdom's system stronger. After a while, the system responded. What's the point? Can you beat the only one? Long Fei said, angrily. System. Ding, players don't think too much. There are so many uniques. There are many places of origin. Wait. Long Fei said casually, but just after he finished speaking, the expression on his face suddenly changed. At this moment, he finally knew where the uneasiness in his heart came from. The place of origin. Correct. Previously, Long Batian went directly to the place of origin, but this time, a lot of them fell away as if they were winning. That is to say, his whole card is the land of origin, even the only one in the land of origin. As soon as this idea came out, Long Fei himself was startled. It's too scary. That is to say, the conferred God quantity tribulation in this world is no longer a simple competition between the three, but even the place of origin has been added to it. Fuck me, Long Batian played too hard, you dog. He actually pulled the place of origin into it. Long Fei burst into a rage instantly. He wanted to maximize the power of the conferred God, but he didn't think about seeking abuse. He has walked all the way, and he has not gone deep into the place of origin until now, because the place of origin is too mysterious and controls many unknown powers. But now it's a good thing Long Batian actually pulled them in directly. Ding! The player's analysis makes sense. The system will go into a deep sleep and won't wake up for the time being. I wish the player a pleasant journey and a good result. Just as Long Fei was falling into anger, the system's voice reappeared. And this time it was even more direct, directly shutting down and running away. When Long Fei heard this, his eyes were burning with anger. Sure enough, the dog system will not change its nature, and will run away when something happens. System, I may not be a human, but you are a real dog. Long Fei said, angrily. But this time, the system didn't respond at all. In other words, the system ran more simply this time than in the Eternal Land. There is only one possibility. That is, the crisis here is more ferocious than in Eternal Land. There was nowhere to vent the anger in Long Fei's heart. Thinking of the changes before and after the system, Long Fei felt that he was too optimistic and shouldn't put his hopes on the system. Damn me, wrestling with existences like Dahai and Long Batian. How can I put my trust in the system? I'm asking for my own death. Long Fei couldn't complain, and the system's running away was the best proof. But Long Fei also knew that the matter had come to this point, and there was no room for maneuver. Fighting is definitely necessary, but the next road, you can only rely on yourself. Everything still has to wait for Ing to return. If Ing loses, it proves that this conferred God quantity tribulation has been completely messed up. Long Fei thought to himself. For the first time, his expression turned serious. Intuition told him that if he wins this conquest, he will lose. Time passed, and the day passed in a blink of an eye. In the middle, Long Fei couldn't help but want to release his divine thoughts a few times and flew towards Chowga to see the battle situation. But finally endured it. No news is good news. At least, It is an expectation. It's just that after 3 days in a row, Ing didn't come back, but another person appeared on the Sea of Darkness. What is she here for? No, why do I have the urge to take her in? A figure appeared in the void. It was the Nuwa that Long Fei saw when he first came to this world. It's just that Nuwa's appearance this time gave Long Fei a different feeling. The more you look at it, the more pleasing to the eye. At the beginning, I just thought that Nuwa's temperament was extraordinary, but now I feel so wow. It's all because of hormones. The primitive impulse is faintly at work. What's wrong, logically speaking? It shouldn't be like this. Long Fei felt vigilant in his heart. This is not right. Subconsciously, Long Fei's eyes flickered and locked on Nuwa's body. In an instant, a red line came into Long Fei's eyes. Red Wan leads. Long Fei was dumbfounded. When did you draw a red line between yourself and Nuwa? This was completely beyond his expectations, and he and Nuwa hadn't had much contact. So how could it be so good that there was a red line between the two of them? This unscientific. With a thought, his figure flashed, and he came directly to the void. Nuwa seemed to have guessed that Long Fei would come out a long time ago, and she didn't appear too surprised. I really didn't expect that your origin would be so mysterious that you could stir up the conferred God quantity tribulation. Nuwa said softly. Her attitude was a complete turn of a few hundred degrees compared to before. It was not the same thing at all. When they met for the first time, she was extremely afraid of Long Fei, but now she seems to be a confidant. This change made Long Fei feel very uncomfortable. Let's not talk about that first. Can you explain what's going on with the red line? If I'm not wrong, you should be in control of the marriages in this world, right? So, you drew the red line yourself? Long Fei asked Road. He tried to tear it apart, but it didn't work at all. This was the root cause of his displeasure. Long Fei wanted it, so why bother with the red line? So the appearance of this red line is more like a constraint to Long Fei. This is the root cause of his displeasure. No, I don't know what's going on. It's just that since I saw you last time, I found a red thread. But this is not something I can control. It's more like the movement of the red Wan star. Nuwa said, saying talking on the face there was a blush and teasing in his eyes, as if he didn't dare to look at Long Fei. Long Fei. Please, you are a sage of heaven. Is it really appropriate for you to pose like a little woman now? However, Nuwa in this state moved Long Fei even more. Sure enough, no one can refuse a woman who can act like a baby. The red Wan star is moving. Long Fei wondered inwardly. Nuwa's eyes moved slightly, and she nodded slightly. Which one is red Wan star? I will kill him. Long Fei continued. Nuwa? At this moment, she was confused and felt that she had been humiliated. How unbearable. Long Fei actually wanted to collapse Hong Wanxing, and he didn't even want to be with him. Chapter 57-59. Chapter 57-59. Naturally, this matter was left alone. It seemed that even the stars in the sky were afraid of Long Fei. After Long Fei said these words, the night fell silent, and all the stars in the sky disappeared without a trace. Long Fei was amazed. It's boring. Nuwa was even more ashamed and angry, feeling that she was humiliating herself by coming here. So she turned around and was about to leave, but he was stopped by Long Fei. The jokes are all delivered to your door. How can you keep them out? Non-existent. When it comes to flying dragons, they naturally have to face each other, and they are absolutely submissive. But what surprised him was that Nuwa didn't resist, and with half a push, the two had sex. Of course, Long Fei used some methods to wrap the two of them together. But this power cannot be hidden from the two people under the sea of blood. Naturally, it is Tianxin and Qingying. This bastard. You're still here, and he's still messing around. Tian couldn't help it. it was absolutely unfair to Qingying. It's normal. It's not like you haven't heard about him from Haikao. His confidant can't be counted with two hands. Qingying chuckled. It seemed that he would not be angry about this kind of thing, and he was often with Long Fei these days, so he naturally knew how strong Long Fei was. And now she had someone to share the burden for her, and she was happy to see the result. Then, Mrs., aren't you jealous? Tian Xian asked with her head tilted. I can't eat it. Besides, I don't think he is a sentimental person. Since what he decides, there must be his deep meaning. Qingying said, if Long Fei knew what Qingying was thinking, he would definitely call out his bosom friend. Give me a dozen of such daughter-in-laws. Time goes by. When Long Fei and Nuwa reappeared, they were already in the sea of blood. But at this time, Nuwa was extremely awkward and unnatural, as if she had been hit by some heavenly stick. She tried to use the law of heaven to alleviate it, but in the end it was useless, so she could only curse Long Fei in her heart. Long Fei just laughed. In fact, he didn't know what was going on. Since the last time Dahai used some small tricks, there was a little change. Although he was still alive, and, well, his woman was closer to ordinary people, which gave Long Fei a different experience. Nyang Nyang, you said that the 3 emperors of Huiyun Cave have deduced something, and want to see me? Long Fei asked. Empress, naturally it is Nuwa. Of course, this was something Long Fei had to agree to in order to compensate Nuwa. That's right. Although the 3 emperors had to retreat because of the shackles of the power of the heavens, they still held the human race in their hearts. Now that you have come and disrupted the God-conferred tribulation, it has given them a hope, a way for the human race to be able to reunite, to reproduce the glory of the year, and become the hope of the Lord of the world. Nuwa said, although Nuwa is also a sage of the monster race, from this point of view, she still cares about the human race very much. At least it was different from the world of conferred gods that Long Fei knew. In that world, the human race was completely reduced to pawns. The era of the rule of heaven, and man has completely become the gods. But it's different here. Among other things, it can be seen from the relationship between Nuwa and the 3 emperors. Long Fei pondered slightly. To be honest, he didn't really care. This high-end game is no longer something everyone can play, and some people are not worthy of entering the game at all. It can be said that this time when the 3 of them confront each other, the sages of heaven and Tao are all cannon fodder, and the people of the 3 religions are even more like ants. So he didn't care much about Nuwa's words. What Nuwa said might be true, but Long Fei didn't have much hope. The power of the 3 emperors may not be weak, but they are still under the law of heaven after all. But the way of heaven, in front of the only one, is nothing but scum. The only one is the existence beyond the way of heaven, not to mentioning, it's just the 3 of them who came here from one side after another. Although the world in front of them has a higher personality, it is only one world after all, and its level is not much different from the supreme world. Seeing Long Fei's lack of interest, Nuwa's face also showed a bit of anger. What is this? Came here from a long distance, talked to him about a few times of cooperation with hundreds of millions, and then turned his face and refused to recognize him. So disrespectful. Humph. Nuwa snorted coldly and remained silent. Long Fei laughed lightly. Don't be angry. You may not know anything about the unique realm. Long Fei explained. In the only game, although the existence of the 3 emperors is not low, they are not qualified to enter the game after all. I know you are powerful, but you are not omniscient and omnipotent. The power possessed by the 3 emperors is the essence of the human race. Nuwa said. She knew that Long Fei didn't believe her words. After all, at Long Fei's level, he was too powerful, and he could control the world with a single thought. But she is also extremely confident in what the three emperors control. Human essence? Long Fei's eyes changed. Preconceived thinking made him have reservations about Nuwa's words, and he was not moved until now when he heard that the three emperors controlled the essence of the human race. There is not much difference between him and Dahai Long Batian in essence, except that Long Batian may involve the power of the place of origin. They are basically on the same starting line. If you want to win by surprise, you must naturally control the power that the opponent has never controlled. Tell me what kind of power they control. Long Fei asked. You should know that the emergence of the human race is because of me. I, the mother of the human race, created the human race. Nuwa said. Long Fei nodded. This is well known. Even in her original world, Nuwa created man. This is a myth that has been handed down. Although the overall level of this world is a bit higher, the overall structure is not different. But this is not the truth. The fact is that we discovered the power to create civilization, and that's why the human race was born. Nuwa continued. Create civilization? Long Fei's expression darkened. Inexplicably, I thought of it before. From entering the place of origin, he witnessed the birth of the galaxy universe, from scratch to prosperity to decay. His intuition told him that there must be something involved. For example, in the very beginning of the prehistoric world, it was also in an embryonic state. It was because of the emergence of many civilizations that the prehistoric world prospered. Yes, it is the creation of civilization, and it is also because of this that I was able to start it, and the human race was born. And it is also because of this merit that I was able to become a saint. My elder brother Fushi also felt the power from it, and was able to become the first generation emperor. Nuwa said. Long Fei's face became serious. In other words, myths and legends do not exist. There is no making man out of clay, and nothing bestowed by God. Rather, this civilization already exists, but it is waiting for someone to open it. Then what kind of existence is this creation civilization? Long Fei continued to ask. He felt like he was grabbing something. I can't say it, but it must have something to do with the place of origin. It's like a human memory seal. It's a stored power that just waits for someone to open it. Nuwa said. The stone was shocked, and the words were amazing. Long Fei also thumped in his heart. He looked at Nuwa suddenly, his eyes flickering, as if doubting the truth of what he said. Isn't it incredible? This is a secret that has never been passed down from ancient times. No one knows except me and the three emperors. Nuwa said with a dignified expression, but this expression made Long Fei feel even more unbelievable, full of disbelief. Chapter 5760. Chapter 57. 60. This concept breaks cognition. Long Fei was deeply silent. All along, he has never considered in this direction. If what Nuwa said is true, then many things can be inferred from one instance, and human civilization was opened by Nuwa. Then before that, the civilization carried by the prehistoric world before the several calamities. Isn't it also the same? Exist is also to be discovered by someone, and then to open it? Long Fei thought in his heart. Gasp! The thought startled even him. He had seen the evolution of the stars along the way, but he thought it was an inevitable product of the passage of time. But seeing Nuwa today, he realized that he took it for granted. More importantly, if the civilizations of the heavens reason with this logic, what about the calamity? What about the apocalypse? The more I think about it, the more scared I become. Can't be calm anymore. Long Fei got up suddenly. You discovered the human civilization back then. So where is that place? Long Fei asked. This is a key. Many things are still unclear, and only by being there can you see more. It's in Huiyun Cave. Nuwa said. There was also a smile on the corner of her mouth, And now Long Fei's reaction also showed that she had guessed well. At this time, Long Fei was also moved. Then what are you waiting for? Daughter-in-law, let's go see uncle. Long Fei said briskly, unwilling to wait a minute longer. The corner of Nua's mouth was smiling. Who didn't look interested just now? Have it? Who? You must have read it wrong. As we all know, I, Long Fei, are the most affectionate in the heavens. You are my people, and they are my family. How can they be trapped in Huiyun Cave? I won't allow it. Long Fei was filled with righteous indignation. Nua also never expected that she could see such a side of Long Fei. After a while, the two disappeared without a trace. Chowga, on the deer platform. In nothingness, the army of Immortal Kingdom remained motionless. The wealthy merchants on the deer platform were also trembling. It's been 3 days. The two have been fighting for 3 days. They never thought that their king could be so awesome. Of course, the one who touched me the most was naturally Wenzhong. Wenzhong felt bad all over. He knows DXIN best. Although DXIN used to be born with supernatural power, his natural supernatural power is far from invincible. What is this now? He didn't know what kind of existence Ing was, but standing here with his acceptance, one look made her feel like facing an abyss. Especially the leaders Bai Qi and Wang Jian made him feel even more afraid. The two are like two killing gods, possessing infinite and terrifying power. He even had a feeling that if the two of them made a move, maybe one look could make him sink into the killing field and die in the killing intent. This is the majesty of the absolute strong. But this kind of person is just the general of that person, who bows down to him and is extremely awed. To what extent will that person be terrified? Cannot imagine. But what shocked him even more was that his king was able to fight this kind of existence for days and nights. Is this reasonable? Not scientific at all. However, the only thing that comforted him was that DXIN's sudden change gave him an absolute protection for the Yin and Shang dynasties. Combat power is fundamental, especially in this prehistoric world. Strength is the foundation of all right to speak. That's good too. Many immortals and sages of heaven and heaven are conspiring against the human race. Since the king has this kind of means, he can protect my Shang dynasty. No matter who he is, he will be the king in the future. Wenzhong also gave up, silently accepting the identity of DXIN in his heart. The great changes in the world have come, and the current Shang dynasty needs an invincible king. Boom! Suddenly, the sky and the earth roared. Two figures descended from the void. It was DXIN and Ing. At this moment, the two couldn't see any changes, and each returned to their own camp. Walk. Ing turned and left. Although Bai Qi and Wang Jian did not dare to disobey. Although they were wondering why they left suddenly now, they would not disobey Ying's order in any way. Soon, the figures of the people began to recede, and in an instant the sky over Yinshang was clear again. Congratulations to the king for returning with a great victory. Your Majesty is such a good means. With His Majesty here, our Yinshang Foundation will last forever. Your Majesty is worthy of being the king of men. DXIN looked at the crowd indifferently, without saying a word. In silence, go back to the palace. After a while, he spoke. Everyone's faces were still filled with excitement. They only saw DXIN's bravery. He was already able to be tough with those immortals, but they didn't pay attention to DXIN's expression at this time. Only Wenzhong felt something was wrong at this moment. The former DXIN Wang was invincible, as he said. He is the king of the world. The universe, thousands of miles of mountains and rivers are all in his pocket. But at the moment when he returned from the first battle, he was silent. But he knew it was inappropriate to say anything now. DXIN didn't keep everyone and directly announced his resignation and asked everyone to go back first, but Wenjong stayed. "My lord, what is the result of this battle?" Wenjong asked. "I underestimated him." DXIN said, frankly. Wenjong's face darkened, and he took a breath in his heart. Sure enough, he had already guessed this result from DXIN's appearance before, but now that he said it from DXIN's mouth, it shocked him even more. The widow thinks that the means I have now, except for that one, even the sage of the heavenly way has absolute means to suppress the other party. But I didn't expect that the power controlled by this legendary existence is no weaker than me. Dishin said. Even at this moment when he opened his mouth, he had already lowered his posture. Of course, this is also the recognition of Wenjong. In other words, he never thought of hiding Wenjong. After all, Wenjong is to Yinshang, and the veteran of the 3 dynasties, such a person must first recognize his existence, so that it will be more convenient for him to rule Yinshang. Your Majesty's power is so strong now, can't he suppress that person? Wenjong asked tentatively. He can't believe it. DXIN's strength is not only superficial, but also the body of a king. The word human king represents the Lord of the world, the king who can stand against the gods. Even the sages of heaven have to stay away. This kind of power is invincible, but even so, he still failed to suppress the intruder. Your Majesty, what kind of existence is that? Wenjong asked, feeling infinitely terrified in his heart, feeling that now Yinshang has fallen into a precarious situation. He, a character in myths and legends, but it's not unusual. It makes sense to appear here. DXIN pondered slightly, then said, yes, he is also from the earth. Moreover, he is a senior social animal, and he is deeply involved in online novels. He wants to replace the protagonist and kill the quartet. Naturally, he knows the famous emperor of the immortal kingdom. Originally, when he first crossed over, he thought it was the highlight of his life. I am completely the protagonist. System, the last emperor. The symbol of everything is the protagonist. But at this moment, he realized that he was just a pawn. It is a chess piece derived from the competition between the 3 of Long Fei. But thinking that the great emperor of the immortal kingdom is just like himself, a pawn, he suddenly felt better. It's difficult because the heavens' tribulation. This chess piece is not easy to play. Forget it. I'd better be a social animal. This kind of high-end game is not suitable for me. Well, it seems that Daji has already entered the palace. Although she is not a 9-tailed fox, she is still a first-class beauty. Hey, there is a saying that fate is like rape. If you can't resist, then enjoy it. Chapter 5761. Chapter 5761. Wenjong looked at DXIN, who was in silence, and said nothing, and the whole person fell into silence. Of course, at this time, he thought that DXIN was worried about the big business, and he recognized DXIN even more in his heart. It's just that he didn't know that at this moment the savior of Dasheng was in his eyes, and he was thinking about how to play tricks. Outside the fire cloud cave, looking at the cave in front of him, Long Fei stopped walking. Inexplicable heart palpitations. This feeling has not appeared in his heart for a long time. But now, the moment he landed outside Huiyun Cave, this feeling lingered. Grass, is there any terrifying power here? Can it hurt me? Long Fei's heart was greatly moved. This feeling is too inexplicable. I haven't had this feeling for a long time. He crosses the heavens, sweeps the heavens and the earth, and no one in the supreme world poses any threat to him. He is the only one, the only existence among the galaxies. It is not too much to say that this kind of strength is immortal, but now it feels like this. What's wrong with you? Nuwa saw that something was wrong with Long Fei and asked, I don't know, I just feel uncomfortable, as if I dare not face the things here. Long Fei said, How is it possible? Nuwa turned pale, with shock. He is very clear about Long Fei's strength. She is a saint, and she can clearly perceive Long Fei's power over a saint. But she was a frequent visitor to Huiyun Cave, and she never felt anything was wrong, so now Long Fei felt strange. She said it was hard to believe. I can't put it into words, but it's not the palpitation of the sense of crisis, but a very strange feeling, as if I'm trying to avoid it in my heart. Long Fei said, He doesn't know what's in here, but it seems that there is something here that he doesn't want to face and wants to avoid. Could it be that you are overthinking it? Although this is the place where human civilization was discovered, I didn't perceive anything. Nuwa said, Long Fei's expression was so serious that she couldn't help but think about it. I hope. Long Fei said lightly, Can't tell. There seemed to be an inexplicable voice telling him not to approach. This feeling made Long Fei very unhappy. He thought he had grasped some key factor and wanted to ask for proof. But now he had this feeling again, which made him hesitate. What's wrong? Why do you feel this way? Could it be that the human civilization had something to do with me? Long Fei's heart was shaken. Thinking of this possibility, his eyes darkened. Impossible, I have never been here before. This is absolutely certain, and this world is in the place of origin, and the standard for entering the place of origin is the only realm. I have definitely never been here before. Long Fei was full of thoughts and denied his guess. System, don't pretend to be dead. Be a person. Tell me what's going on. Long Fei asked. The system is not responding. Long Fei's teeth itch in anger. This dog is getting more and more tortured, and sooner or later he will be killed. But it's useless to worry about it now, since we have come to Huiyun Cave. We must go in. Inside Huiyun Cave, 3 figures were also looking outside. The moment Long Fei appeared, the expressions on the faces of the 3 of them became solemn. Do not look directly. Is this the realm above the saint, above the way of heaven? This breath is really terrifying. Yeah, I really didn't expect that our lifeline would be on him. Fushi, have you made a mistake? Will this kind of existence really help us? Several people sighed with emotion, but behind them, the eyes of the 2 fell on Fushi. There is no mistake. The power I deduced is like this. Our way out lies in him. My innate power of gossip has evolved, and now it can be said to be the law of prophecy. I once watched the future. The future of this world is blurred, but the only thing that is clearly visible is his figure. No mistake, it must be him. The figure I saw was him. She was extremely excited. As his cultivation became stronger and stronger, his wait and see for the future became more and more clear. It's a dead end. Originally, the human race would be completely reduced to the incense nourishment of the gods, and there would be no basis for turning over. Only by believing in the gods could they have a future. But since Long Fei's appearance, there have been changes. It was originally a chaos, and nothing changed. But since the appearance of Long Fei, there has been a change. In the chaos, clarity finally appeared. This is also the fundamental reason why he chose Long Fei. It seems that he is the one who can be admired so much by you. It's just that what do we have that can make him fall in love? Emperor Shenong asked. This is the key. Long Fei's strength is terrifying. It is the peak sequence in this world. How can they guarantee that Long Fei will cooperate with them? They don't have the confidence. Since he came, it proves that he has already been tempted. Fushi said, this is also within his deduction. He didn't know if the picture he saw would come true, but he could be sure that he had to stand in the united front with Long Fei, otherwise the human race would be in trouble. The two were slightly taken aback, but they didn't say much. At the same time, Long Fei and Nuwa also came outside Huiyun Cave. Long Fei walked very slowly. The closer he got, the stronger the feeling in his heart became. I really want to escape, as if wanting to stay away from here. Where is the problem? Long Fei frowned. This feeling made Long Fei even more puzzled. Even when he returned to the ancient world, Long Fei never felt this way. I want to see what's going on. The stronger this feeling was, the more rebellious Long Fei felt in his heart, wanting to see what kind of power it was. Wait a minute. There is still a restriction here. Wait for me to make a move. Call the elder brother to make a move. Nuwa said without knowing what Long Fei was thinking. No need. This kind of restriction is nothing to me. Long Fei said. Then, with a flick of the fingers, boom, there was a roar. Afterwards, the restriction in the field directly collapsed and disappeared. Nuwa froze in place. Even though she knew that Long Fei was very strong, she was still shocked by his strength. Breaking the heavenly restriction with a snap of your fingers? This was arranged by Taoist ancestor. After so many years, that is to say, Fuxi has understood this power. He can tear a crack and let her in, but he can't break the restriction at all. But Long Fei was too terrifying. He broke the restriction with just his fingers. It's amazing. Nuwa was obsessed, and she didn't look like a saint of heaven. Her eyes were full of shock and admiration. Is this my man? He's so strong. Inexplicably, she felt a sense of happiness in her heart. What expression? Low-key, this is a routine operation. Long Fei is very useful, being admired by his own woman. Probably every man can't refuse. And he is the same, not to mention his woman, is also a sage of heaven. If this is put in the novel, it will be a proper supreme empress. For a moment, Long Fei felt great pride in his heart. Very cool. Even the previous irritability was a little less. Let's go in and have a look. After speaking, Long Fei took the lead and started to go deeper. Chapter 57:62. Chapter 57:62 soon. As time went by, the figures of the two gradually disappeared. Huiyun Cave is very deep. It doesn't look like a cave at all. It's more like an independent world. And as soon as he entered it, Long Fei felt that there was no aura of prehistoric nature here. In other words, this place is out of the way. Unexpectedly, there is such a place in the prehistoric world. Long Fei was shocked. Now that I think about it, what I know is still not enough. This is a place that even one's own divine sense cannot cover. According to his understanding, there are not many descriptions of the three emperors of Huiyun Cave in the prehistoric world. And because of this, he didn't pay too much attention to this place. But now it seems that this is the biggest loophole. No, it should be a variable. I don't know if the prehistoric worlds I'm familiar with are also like this. If the Huiyun Cave is also a variable in those worlds, what will be the final result? A thought arose in Long Fei's heart. Back then, when he entered the Earth immortal realm and the mythical world on Earth, he witnessed many legendary mythical figures, but the three emperors of Huiyun Cave rarely appeared, so that he had no contact with them. But now it seems that this place is the most unique existence in the prehistoric world. Even more unique than Zixiao Palace. Nuwa, why did heaven imprison the three sovereigns here? Long Fei asked. I don't know. After the Great Tribulation, Fuxi and I were the earliest creatures that appeared between the heaven and the earth. Back then we discovered the creation civilization of the human race and unraveled the civilization. Human race appeared between the heaven and the earth. It was nothing at first, but as time went by, the human race became stronger and stronger. Afterwards, many monster races appeared. As Nuwa spoke, her eyes gradually became heavy, as if it was an unbearable time to look back on. But when Long Fei heard it, He felt extremely shocked in his heart. Wrong. Time logic is wrong. According to what Nuwa said, could it be that the appearance of the human race was before the first robbery of the Dragon Han? You said you unsealed the civilization of the human race after the sky was opened. Long Fei asked. Yes, but at that time, the human race was still very weak, not only unable to resist natural disasters, but also unable to resist the demon race. Nuwa said. Long Fei's eyes sank. Numb. Scalp numb. This is completely different from what I know. From what I know, the human race should have gradually entered the stage of history after the Lich. But now, according to Nuwa, there were countless eras before. In other words, the human race has experienced 3 catastrophes. The more he thought about it, the more complicated Long Fei felt. In a trance, his mind wandered. An unexpected picture suddenly appeared in his mind. Human civilization? Let's put it in this world. Apocalypse, tribulation still can't change. Always leave a little hope. What if we can turn things around in the future? Apocalypse, Jia, I'll wait for you. When I come back again, I'll have another wave with you. A figure spoke to himself, and then placed a seed in a cave. The picture disappeared, but Long Fei couldn't calm down. The scene was too real, as if it happened in front of his eyes. Not only that, but the scene was more like he had experienced it himself. Fuck me, did I let go of this civilization? Long Fei was extremely shocked. His heart was shaken. This is your mother. The heifer is playing firecrackers upside down. It's so awesome. He thought about many possibilities, but he never thought that this would be related to him. No, it can't be like this. If I did it, why would I not have the slightest impression? Long Fei fell into self-doubt. And if I did it, why do I feel repelled here? Long Fei's heart was in a mess. He vehemently denied it. This is unbelievable. If it is really done by myself, then there are too many meanings behind it. For a moment, Long Fei stopped in his tracks. What's wrong? Nuwa asked. She felt that Long Fei was getting more and more wrong. Her good mood suddenly rose, and now she showed such an unusual posture, which made her feel very surprised. It's okay, I just thought of something. Long Fei didn't explain. After all, this is just a guess, and he himself doesn't know if it's true. The next moment, Long Fei calmed down his mind. Keep going. But this time, his speed was slower, and his eyes kept looking around, as if he wanted to see the strangeness. However, things backfired. More and more familiar. The deeper he went, the more Long Fei felt that he had been here before. My mud horse, what happened? Long Fei felt heavy in his heart. He originally thought that after he became the only one, nothing would affect his mood, but now it seems that he took it for granted. There are too many unknown things. Even if you reach the unique state, you can't be omniscient and omnipotent at all. What's going on? Could it be the seas means secretly planning to draw me into another vortex unknowingly? Long Fei thought, but soon this answer was also denied. Totally unnecessary. He knew Dahai's methods. If Dahai really wanted to plot against him, there was no need to do so much. Nuwa didn't say a word, and she felt more and more difficult. What is it that can make Long Fei show such an expression? He is an existence above the Tao of heaven. Nuwa sensed something was wrong. Long Fei behaved less and less like himself. Long Fei, tell me the truth. What exactly did you perceive? If you don't want to continue, let's leave now. Nuwa said. Inexplicably, seeing Long Fei's expression, she actually felt a little distressed. That's why she didn't want to continue anymore. No matter what was involved behind this, she didn't want to see Long Fei like this. Never mind, continue. Long Fei rejected Nuwa's offer. He knew what Nuwa was thinking, but he wanted to understand what was behind it. Unknown void. In the darkness, Dahai put away the fishing rod in his hand. It seems that he has entered the Huyun cave after all. Hey, can reincarnation really not be changed? Dahai's face was serious, and it was the first time such an expression appeared on his face. Senior, why can't you tell Long Fei directly? If he knows, it may be another result. Aside, Tianqi said suddenly, if I could tell him, I would have told him a long time ago. It's just that some things are more complicated than you think. Dahai said. Apocalypse fell silent. Anyway, he believed that Long Fei would not do anything against his heart, but he also believed in Dahai. Since Dahai said he couldn't tell Long Fei, there must be his reasons. Then, Master, what should we do in this prehistoric world? You have planned for so long, and now that Long Fei has entered Huyun Cave, will the contest between you continue? Tianqi asked, where is the contest? Do you really think that I am idle and want to decide the outcome with him? Dahai asked back, with an extremely complicated expression on his face. Tianqi was taken aback for a moment. He really wanted to ask a question, didn't he? But seeing Dahai's expression, he swallowed the words that were already on his lips. Look, the following things can only go with the flow. Dahai sighed, and then his figure flickered and disappeared. Chapter 57:63. Chapter 57:63. In Huyun Cave, Long Fei's deepening continued. As time passed, he had penetrated deep into the Huyun Cave. But this way has traveled dozens of miles, but it seems to be countless light years. WAP! K with Macron Nu SH Mu 5. Net, I don't know why. It's been extremely slow here. Especially for Long Fei. The emotions of longing and repulsion are entangled with each other, and the two are like a kind of battle between heaven and man, tormenting his heart. However, Long Fei's thirst for knowledge finally gave birth to the inexplicable feeling in his heart, and he went all the way to the deepest part. Long Fei, below is the real Huyun Cave, Brother Fushi, and I also discovered the civilization created by the human race. Are you sure you want to go in now? Nua asked. This is the final confirmation. He didn't know what kind of state Long Fei was in now, but her intuition told her that once Long Fei entered the fire cloud cave, something unexpected would definitely happen. Go in. I, Long Fei, do things, and I haven't had a mother-in-law before. Long Fei said, now that we've come this far, it doesn't matter what happens next. The important thing is that he wants a result. At the same time, in Huyun Cave, the three emperors looked at each other. Along the way, they all watched it. Emperor, what's going on? Why does he show such an expression, as if he doesn't care much about this? Emperor Shenong asked. Yeah, he looks like he has been here before, and there is something sealed here that prevents him from approaching. Human Emperor Xianyuan also said, this expression is too strange and complicated, and according to what Fushi said, it was his first time here, so it didn't make sense with Long Fei's behavior at this time. I don't know, but I believe my judgment. Moreover, since he came here, it means that he has accepted it. So no matter what secrets are hidden here, it doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is that he's here. After Fushi pondered, he swiped his hands. Boom! The innate gossip was laid out casually, and then thousands of rays of light emerged in this cave. And this light also pulled out a portal in the void, which was really outside the cave. Looking at the cave in front of him, Long Fei narrowed his eyes. Just about to step in, there was a sudden shock in my mind. It seemed that Pandora's magic box had been opened, and scenes of unwarranted scenes appeared. It's not bad here, it's a natural cave, and it's a special place after Pangu opened the sky. But it's not enough. According to the development of this world, I will definitely go through the era of heavenly Tao in the future. I have to use some means to make this place a place outside the Tao. Otherwise, if Tiandao discovers this place by then, wouldn't it be my means? Found www. Novel. That's good. So that even if I fail in the future, I won't fail and won't be completely defeated. One after another voices kept appearing, making Long Fei more and more confused. What is going on? Why are there so many memories that don't belong to me? Long Fei was confused. This kind of picture is too shocking. It doesn't belong to him at all. But the voice was still his, which was terrifying. Long Fei, what's the matter with you? I always feel that something is wrong with you now. Nua asked again. From the moment he entered Huiyun Cave, Long Fei seemed to be a different person, and he was completely two different people from his previous rebellious appearance. Even at this moment, she wondered if she had made the wrong choice. If she hadn't asked Long Fei to come here, such a change might not have occurred. I can't say it, but now I see a lot of memory images that don't belong to me. Long Fei said. There were more and more pictures, and Long Fei's brain began to become numb. He feels more and more now. That thing is what he put here. How so? Nua's face became flustered. She naturally didn't want anything wrong with Long Fei. I don't know, but I have a guess now. Long Fei said in a deep voice. What guess? Nua asked. I suspect that I put this thing here. Long Fei said. Nua couldn't believe it. This is the first time for Long Fei to come here. How could it be possible that he put it here? Although it's unbelievable, I can draw this conclusion from the pictures I have obtained now. Long Fei said, those pictures were so real, as if they were happening right in front of me. Long Fei himself had to believe it. But you have never been here before. Nua was also extremely shocked, and said, it was she who discovered the creation of civilization by the human race. So she naturally knew better that it was a distant era, and it is unknown how many years have passed since now. And at that time, this prehistoric world did not exist, and at that time, the world was in a daze. How could it be that Long Fei put it here? At that time, Long Fei probably didn't know the existence of the prehistoric world. Long Fei didn't say a word. He is also depressed. It doesn't make sense at all. But those pictures don't seem to be fake. Nua, something is still wrong. Why do you think Heavenly Tao sealed the three sovereigns in this Huiyun cave? Long Fei suddenly asked. I don't know, but Daozu once said that this is a place outside the Tao. By sealing this place, a catastrophe may be avoided. And the reason why the three emperors were suppressed here was also because the three emperors were the leaders of the human race and carried the fate of the human race. You can completely seal this place, Nua said. Long Fei pondered slightly. It seems that Tiandao here must also know something. And in the picture I saw before, I found this place in order to avoid Kai Tiandao. Things get even more confusing here. Heaven? Long Fei pondered for a moment. It seems that in the future, we will have to find the way of heaven and have a good chat. But right now, the most important thing is the present. Damn it, don't worry about it. No matter what it is, go in and have a look first. Long Fei made up his mind. Anyway, now that you're here, you have to figure out what's going on. Moreover, this is also related to the competition between himself and the sea this time. So can't give up. The entrance is in front of you, and the three emperors have already opened the door. So how can you not go in? Taking a step forward, Long Fei's figure disappeared into the halo of the portal. Appeared again, already in Huiyun Cave. The three of them looked at Long Fei. Their expressions moved slightly. An invisible coercion radiated from Long Fei's body, so strong. Is this the existence above the Tao of heaven? All three of them had this thought in their hearts. Before, when they looked at Long Fei through the Huiyun Cave, they could only feel the terrifying aura on Long Fei's body, but now in person, They knew what oppression is. Not to mention anything else. It was simply the superior aura that was above the way of heaven, which made them feel oppressed. After endless coma, you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arms stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5764. Chapter 5764. Long Fei looked at the 3 of them with a calm expression. He didn't deliberately show any aura to suppress it. It's just that, at his level, there is no need to express it deliberately. The oppression of the level is already natural. Long Fei, put away your breath. Nuo said. Long Fei frowned. I didn't release my breath? He is now in a normal state, and he has not deliberately released it at all. But when he turned around and saw the expressions of the 3 of them, Long Fei understood in his heart. He really wanted to say, is there a possibility that the 3 of them are too weak? But in the end, it was the 3 emperors of the human race. Long Fei thought about it and suppressed it. After all, Nuo was here, so he had to show some face. The next moment, he began to suppress. There is no way but to suppress it. But thinking about it, Long Fei felt something was wrong again. If it's your own fault, why can Tianxin and others hold it in the sea of darkness? Something is wrong. For a moment, he set his sights on the 3 of them. And at this moment, the 3 of them were even more struck by thunder. Thumb up, blast back 3 steps in a row. Long Fei's gaze at this time was too aggressive, as if he wanted to see through them. In an instant, the 3 of them each released their own methods. Fushi's innate gossip floated above his head. Emperor Shenong's eyes were like copper bells, and his body was flickering with mysterious light. Emperor Xianyuan held Xianyuan's sword to resist. At this moment, they all felt a deadly sense of oppression. What do you mean? Fu, she asked under pressure. No one expected that Long Fei would strike at the slightest disagreement. No warning. Although my realm is a few realms higher than yours, it's not that I can't let you feel the pressure without releasing my breath. If I think even ordinary people won't feel the pressure, but do you think it is reasonable to be so oppressive? Long Fei asked in a deep voice. The faces of the three turned red. They also didn't expect that Long Fei would use such a reason to attack them. Emperor Shenong and Emperor Xianyuan had some indignant expressions on their faces, and they were all baffled. But Fu Shihuang's face changed slightly, as if thinking of some possibility. Just when Long Fei's aura continued unabated, his eyes sank, and he said, "I probably know what's going on." Long Fei turned his eyes. "Say." His breath didn't weaken, and fell on Fushi's body coldly. Back then, Niwa and I discovered human civilization here, and the three of us all upheld the human way. Fushi said, but when he said this, he paused slightly as if he was deliberately guiding Long Fei. Long Fei frowned slightly. Inexplicably, Long Fei felt that Fushi's words seemed to mean something else. "Go on," Long Fei said. Fushi shook his head lightly. "Don't you already have the answer?" Long Fei was taken aback. On the side, Nua's face was full of panic. Before she understood what was going on, Long Fei suddenly exploded, which made her at a loss. Fortunately, as Fushi's voice fell, Long Fei's aura gradually calmed down. "You mean all of this is related to the civilization of the human race?" Long Fei asked. "To be precise, it has something to do with yourself," Fushi said. Long Fei. At this moment, the speculation in his heart resurfaced in his mind, more and more dignified. "I guessed before why you became the hope of the human race. I didn't understand it before, but now I guess a little bit," Fushi said. Long Fei's face was heavy, as if he had already guessed what Fushi was going to say. "Combined with our current situation, it also shows that my guess is right." As Fushi said, infinite brilliance appeared in his eyes. "Although your realm is above the way of heaven, as you said, it is impossible for you not to target us, and we will feel oppressed. There is only one possibility, that is, the power we carry is given by you. See, you are like seeing your ancestors. That's why we have a natural suppression." Fushi continued. At this time, the tension on his face was gone, but infinitely excited. Long Fei. Sure enough, everything confirmed what I had guessed. At this moment, even Long Fei himself began to doubt. Fushi's explanation is reasonable, although there are still many illogical things, such as why he appeared before the civilization of the prehistoric world, and how he controlled the civilization of the human race. But it must be admitted that Fushi's explanation at this time is impeccable. Yes, that's the only way to explain why the three of us couldn't face you directly. Fushi added. Emperor Shenong and Emperor Xianyuan looked at each other. Their throats twitched, and then they looked at Long Fei. Their eyes gradually became hot. They didn't have the slightest doubt about Fushi's words. The three of them had discussed with each other for countless years in this fire cloud cave, and they had already trusted each other extremely. Therefore, when Fushi spoke, they would not have any doubts. The eyes of the three of them all fell on Long Fei. "Don't look at me like that. I know I'm handsome, but if you look at me like that, I'll feel embarrassed too," Long Fei said. "Three people." Only Niwa was smiling. In any case, a crisis has now been avoided. She was really afraid that a conflict would break out between the two parties, but fortunately, now that Long Fei's breath was suppressed, she felt relaxed, but she was also curious in her heart, and looked at Long Fei in disbelief. "W. Alfaro. Xwo." Net it seemed that everything was rightly said by Long Fei. She also thought, could it be that Long Fei really put that thing back? "Let's get down to business. You guys discovered the human civilization here. Long Fei changed the subject. Kenshu, Zai with grave Fu, she's words made Long Fei feel more confident. Maybe this thing was really put in by myself. Although there are some things I can't figure out, all the signs I am facing now indicate that I have been here before. That's right, we discovered the human civilization here. Fushi explained. Then he slowly got up. The futon he sat on suddenly shone brightly. Fushi moved it away with his hands, and a broken bead leaked out. Long Fei's eyes suddenly shrank. Inexplicably, a strong sense of familiarity directly impacted my mind. Suddenly, countless pictures appeared in his mind again. It was between a nebula like a huge palm, and between those fingers, one star after another was born. The pillar of creation. Long Fei spoke subconsciously, and as he opened his mouth, the picture disappeared. All three looked at Long Fei suspiciously. Long Fei, what happened? Nuwa stepped forward and asked. Just now Long Fei had an extremely strange expression, as if he had seen some extremely terrifying scene. Unfortunately, they didn't see anything. It's nothing. It's just that I suddenly saw some unnecessary scenes. Long Fei said calmly. The next moment, he held the broken bead in his hand. www. Kaho 5. Net after endless coma. Sure, you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure, you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arms stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5765. Chapter 5765. Long Fei tightly grasped the bead in his hand, feeling it lightly, but they found that the faces of the 3 of Fushi and Nuwa were shocked. It really is you. Fushi's eyes were full of surprises. WAP. K with Macron Nush Mu 5. Net, what do you mean? Long Fei asked, "Let me tell you, when we discovered the seed of human civilization, there was a sentence next to it. Nuwa said, 'Long Fei, what are you talking about?' Nuwa, dog, even if you think about it, you can't guess that I will have such a method." Long Fei. Long Fei suddenly felt that this sentence was very personal. Ding, those words are very fast, like what you said. At this time, the system suddenly cheated, and a voice came out of its mind. Long Fei. Dog, don't you pretend to be dead? System. I continue to crash. Long Fei, you are a real dog. Long Fei is helpless, but he knows that you can't wake up a system that pretends to be asleep no matter what. Thoughts turn. Taking a step back, what the system said was not wrong. It sounded like he said it. And the system followed him all the way, so there was nothing wrong with his attitude. Did I really put it here? But why is there no such memory in my mind? Long Fei pondered in his heart. On the other side, the expressions of Nuwa, Fushi, and the others were constantly changing. Nuwa thought it was impossible before, but now seeing that Long Fei can hold this power, he no longer has any doubts in his heart. Is there anything else besides this sentence? Long Fei asked. Nuwa shook her head. No more. But after Brother Fushi and I released this power, the bead shattered. But even so, it still possesses unimaginable power. Let alone hold this power in the hand. Even touching it is not acceptable. W. Alfaro. Xwo. Net. At the beginning, I thought it was because I was not strong enough, but later I became a sage of heaven, and it still didn't work. Even, I suspect that Daozu once coveted this kind of power, but he couldn't do it, so he imprisoned the 3 emperors here later. Nuwa said. Long Fei's eyes moved slightly. Even Hongjun covets this power? It shouldn't be. It's nothing special if you don't see it. Long Fei glanced at the broken bead in his hand in surprise. But at this moment, his face changed drastically. I saw that the beads that had already been broken did not know when they had recovered. Even visible to the naked eye, there are still a little bit of starlight flickering inside, as if some extremely terrifying power is being bred. Hiss! Long Fei gasped. But this is only one of them. What is even more frightening is that he actually saw the shadow of the pillar of creation in it, just like the scenes of stars that I saw when I entered the place of origin before. The power between the two seems to be from the same source, with some kind of unknowable connection. Ding! Congratulations to the player for discovering the seed of creation. The system's voice reappeared, and there was an indescribable excitement in the voice. The seed of creation? System, what is this? Long Fei asked. He always felt that it was not easy. The system had been playing dead before, but now it suddenly showed such an attitude. He couldn't help but doubt it. Kenshu. Zai with grave. Ding. The seed of creation is a tool for carrying civilization, which contains indescribable power, and the system cannot scan it. But the seed can carry civilization, so that even if the apocalypse comes, players can also transfer the civilization where their relatives are. Bring it in. The system said. Long Fei was taken aback. Immediately my heart became excited. Is this the power that can evade the apocalypse? He couldn't believe it. He doesn't know what the apocalypse tribulation exists, but what is certain is that its power is extremely terrifying, possessing the power to destroy heaven and earth. Except for the unique realm, it is impossible for any living being to exist. Unexpectedly, now here, I found something that can avoid the apocalypse. System, where did this thing come from? Isn't it right? If I said that this thing was put here, does that mean that I chose the human civilization here? Long Fei asked. Combined with everything that happened here before, Long Fei was even more puzzled, full of question marks. Ding, I don't know. The system responded. Ding, the system suggests that players can cultivate this power. The system continued. Long Fei, My suggestion here is that it's okay for you. Don't make blind suggestions. I don't accept it. Longface said, ruthlessly. He doesn't have much trust in the system now. Anyway, the system has been broken from time to time, and for me, it has been negligible and basically useless. Ding, please maintain the most basic trust in the system. We are the most sincere fighting partners along the way. The system is becoming more and more humane, and it starts to play the emotional card. But before he finished speaking, Long Fei interrupted directly. Shut up. Do you have the face to say that? Long Fei sneered. Ding, players have misunderstood the system too much. The system continued. However, Long Fei didn't bother to pay attention and directly shut down the system with a backhand. No more regular meetings. He looked at the orb of creation in his hand. No matter what kind of power it is, but since it exists and falls into his own hands, there must be some involvement. Long Fei, I didn't expect it was really you. Nuo was pleasantly surprised. If it was said that the admiration for Long Fei before was due to Long Fei's strength, then now it is more about gratitude. Because if it weren't for Long Fei, maybe there would never be a human race in this prehistoric world. And if that was the case, they would naturally not be where they are today. The same goes for Fushi and the others. They are all leaders of the human race, but if the human race does not appear, they will naturally not be born. In a sense, Long Fei gave them the possibility to exist. I'm not sure if it's me, but now is not the time to talk about it. Long Fei said, it doesn't make sense to say that now. Whether it is or not, these things are now in my hands, and the rest of the time is to dig deeper. Go, let's get out of here first. Long Fei said. San Huang and the others nodded violently. They have been imprisoned for too long. For the sake of the human race, they endured humiliation. Now that they finally have the opportunity to see the sun again, how could they refuse? Everyone left one after another. Of course, Long Fei naturally maintained his usual style and took away what he could take away. But what Long Fei didn't know was that the moment they left Huiyun Cave, 9 days above, in the midst of nothingness and chaos, a palace suddenly appeared. The purple air comes from the east, shining brightly in the world. And this palace is naturally Zixiao Palace. He has finally come to this step. It seems irreversible. A voice came from Zixiao Palace. Let him go. If it's so easy to reverse, I don't have to plan for so long. Another voice responded. After the sound, a figure slowly turned around. And he is the sea. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure you also found 3 books beside it. Sure you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure you? The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure you's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, pet breeding base, trainee pet keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 57, 66. Chapter 57, 66, Under the Sea of Darkness. Long Fei returned to the palace. Now he is already the master of this sea of darkness. It is bound to be like today's Qi is not here. Tianxin can be said to be obedient to himself. So, I am the uncrowned king. He raised his head to look at the void, looked at the majestic, immortal kingdom palace, felt the breath inside, and felt a slight movement in his heart. Qingying, you settle the 3 of them first, and I'll go see our neighbors. Long Fei said. The moment he finished speaking, Long Fei's figure instantly disappeared from the field. In the great hall of Immortal Kingdom, Ing seems to have been waiting for Long Fei. There were no guards by his side, no attendants of any kind. How? Long Fei got straight to the point. It's not good. Ing responded, neither salty nor dull, with a deadpan expression on his face. Long Fei pouted, but didn't care. There was no surprise in Long Fei's eyes that Ing would show such a gesture. Great Emperor of the Immortal Kingdom, a detached person naturally has his own posture, as if he is himself. I am also a strong person in the unique realm, and I often have my own majesty. Kenshu, Zai with grave. It seems that Dahai has made a fool of himself this time. Such a terrifying existence has been cultivated in such a short period of time. Long Fei said. He walked all the way, how much he went through before he became the only realm. But at this time, Emperor Xian of the Yin and Shang dynasties was actually in this realm, and this was the reason why Long Fei felt helpless in his heart. He is not the only one. His power is very unique, as if he is using the power of the common people. At this time, Ing suddenly said. Long Fei was taken aback, a little puzzled. To put it simply, it's as if I have never transcended before and borrowed the power of the common people and the fate of the country. He borrowed this power. As for him, as the master of this world, he can naturally use the power of all living beings. If I want to kill him, I must first destroy all living beings in the world. Although the widow has killed countless lives, I still can't do it if I really want to kill humanity. Ing said. Long Fei nodded. Of course he knew this. Ying's detachment is to rely on the power of all beings in the world, so naturally he will not do that kind of dehumanizing thing. But upon hearing this, Long Fei frowned slightly. If killing Xian requires killing all the common people in the world, then they are doomed to fail in this battle. The sea is so high, it has to be the sea. Long Fei sneered. It is not an exaggeration to say that Dahai has grasped his psychology thoroughly. He knew that Long Fei couldn't do such a conscienceless thing, so he made this setting, which can be said to be invincible. With the help of the power of the heavens and the earth, how far can Xian's combat power reach? Long Fei asked. Not inferior to others. Wen said. Long Fei was silent. This is awesome. Dahai has given him a trump card. Not only is Dixin himself strong enough, but he has also set up a second layer of protection. Let yourself think about the consequences, even if you want to kill them all. It's hard enough. The sea has given me an unsolvable problem. Not only him, but also Long Batian. Long Batian must have something to rely on now. And the biggest possibility is the world of origin. Long Fei analyzed. Gradually, the head grows bigger. So what are you going to do next? When asked, that's what matters right now. His expression was also extremely serious at this time. To be honest, when he went to Chowga before, he planned to break Chowga at once. But he still underestimated the world. As you said, if you want to get DXion out of the game, the first thing you need to do is destroy his status as the king. Long Fei said, DXion has the identity of a human king. He is the lord of the world, the king of human beings. Under the sky, the power of faith of countless creatures will be concentrated on him. If he doesn't break this layer of identity, there will be no solution to this journey. Yes, with this level of identity here, I will be stretched to do anything. Ing said he had already discovered this in the previous battle. Although DXion's combat power is not bad, there is still a big gap with the real transcendence. But this gap was made up for by DXion as a king. Using the power of the common people, his combat power has directly undergone a qualitative change, reaching an existence comparable to the unique state. Ing also knows this kind of power. He was also very good at this kind of power in his own world. But unfortunately, he is like a rootless duckweed in this world. He is the great emperor of the immortal kingdom, not the great desolate emperor. Here he has nothing to do. This is DXion's world, and the common people belong to the great merchants, so naturally he cannot use that kind of power. Long Fei remained silent. As Ing said, this is fundamental. If you want to wipe out DXion, the only way is to break the power of the human race under his control. Maybe I can try. Long Fei said, When looked at Long Fei, I got something recently, maybe it can change the status quo. Long Fei said, since Huiyun Cave is related to the civilization of the human race, it must be related to the human race. If the mystery of this can be solved, then DXion's problem will naturally be solved. What? When asked, curiosity appeared in his eyes. After all, he had personally fought against DXion, so he naturally knew how powerful DXion was. Especially after merging the power of the world, it is the key that people dare not make a full-scale attack. So, at this time, Long Fei said that he had the power to suppress DXion, and he became interested. It is this. Long Fei took out the bead he got before and put it in his hand. In an instant, Win's expression changed. As soon as this thing appeared, Ing felt that it was extraordinary. There is an air of civilization in it. There used to be a civilization in it. Ing said. His eyes were extremely serious. With his state of mind, he can tell at a glance that this bead is not simple. You're right. There was once a civilization in it, and this civilization was the human race, and it was the human race in this prehistoric world. Long Fei said in a deep voice, Omega Omega W. Net although he himself hadn't figured out what was going on, but with the group from Huiyun Cave before, Long Fei also had a certain understanding of this bead. When expression must. Human civilization here. He exclaimed, Yes, it's just about this bead. I still have some doubts. Long Fei didn't explain more. There are too many things behind this bead, and there are still too many unknowns. If that's the case, there is a chance. Ying's eyes shone brightly. He naturally understood the meaning behind the bead. If he can use the power of the human race in this world for himself, then the threat of Dixin will no longer exist. This is drastic. It will take time. I have to figure out what's going on behind this before I can make a decision. Long Fei said. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free, without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, pet breeding base, trainee pet keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 57:67. Chapter 57:67. Time goes by. 10 days have passed since Wynn returned. For 10 days, none of the 3 parties made any major moves. The only thing worth noting is that the 3 religions in the prehistoric world have become active again. Not only that, but the 2 sages Jane and Jundi Sisi also joined in and became active between heaven and earth. However, Long Fei didn't care about this kind of thing. He doesn't care about this kind of existence at all. Since his appearance, the dominance of this world is no longer with them. So even if they became active at this time, Long Fei didn't have any worries. His center of gravity has long since ceased to be in the prehistoric world itself. In the past half a month, he and Ing had discussed the Tao under the Sea of Darkness, and the only thing he thought about was the beads that contained human civilization. It's just a pity that nothing came of it. There is nothing special about this bead at all. The only thing that can be perceived is the humanity contained in it. No, it's still not right. Whether it's your power or my detachment method, this thing can't cause any changes. Ing said, for half a month, the 2 tried many methods, using their own means to inject their strongest strength into it. But the results are all failures, without any disturbance. This thing is very strange. I can't say it, but what is certain is that we are going in the wrong direction. To show the mystery, special power is needed. Long Fei said, whether he wins or wins, their strength has already been said to be the most powerful existence in the world. But their strength is still not enough. For this bead, it has no effect. Do you think there is a possibility that this power does not belong to the present? Suddenly, Ing said. Long Fei was taken aback. Suddenly, it seems that he has grasped the key. In the next moment, a gleam appeared in his eyes. You're right, I've always felt that I overlooked something. Long Fei became excited. He ignored what he had seen before. He has already accepted that he put this thing in Huayun Cave, but he didn't care about those pictures. Now, when a word to wake up. Now, that any of their power is useless, there is only one possibility, and that is that power does not belong to the present. Capre with acute Delta 5. Netwin looked at Long Fei and didn't say much. Then what are you going to do? Win asked. It's not sure yet, but since we have a direction, the problem can be easily solved. If it's not the current power, it belongs to the future or the past. Long Fei said, Anyway, this is the only chance, and he won't give up. Win remained silent. As soon as Long Fei opened his mouth, he already guessed what Long Fei was thinking. Travel through time. At their level, traveling through time and space is not an incredible means. The only problem is that even if you travel back to the past or the future, you can't easily make changes. A small change can even change the present. It's useless to travel through the past. You should know that nothing can be changed. Ing said, No need to change. All I want is to find the source of this power. Long Fei said, This kind of power will not appear out of thin air. Various factors have shown that it is closely related to yourself, so you must do it. Ding, congratulations to the player for triggering the system task and traveling through time and space. Mission requirements. I will go to the ancient times in the era of gods to ignite the fire of the human race. Mission time, 1 month. Mission reward, 3,000 culpas. Mission punishment, imprisoning the ancient times. Explanation. This task is an undeniable task, and the player has automatically accepted it. If the player refuses forcefully, the system will take other punishment methods. At this time, the sound of the system suddenly appeared. But at this time, the system has a lot to say. Obviously, he understood that with Long Fei's current strength, it was simply unrealistic to kill Long Fei with the power of the system. So in terms of punishment, there is no such thing as death or relegation as mentioned before. It doesn't make any sense. www. Novel. Long Fei's strength has already exceeded the detection range of the system. It can be said that the current system can only guide Long Fei, and it is impossible to control Long Fei. Long Fei fell silent when he heard the system's sudden words. This was also the first time that the system appeared in front of Long Fei with such a posture. I didn't expect you to give love to. Long Fei chuckled lightly. This is something he never thought of. Ding, the system is not cowardly. If the player does not complete the task or wants to forcibly contact the task with his own strength, the system will punish the player in another way. Said the system. This is his last stubbornness. Long Fei didn't take it seriously. Punish? What can be punished? Long Fei smiled contemptuously, disapproving. You're laughing. Believe it or not, I will send the winner back. Then you still want to compete with them? It doesn't exist, and you will lose before you start. Long Fei. He never expected that the system is so stupid that he would make a fuss about it. You won. Long Fei said helplessly. The system is silent, but Long Fei basically guessed that the corner of the system's mouth was raised at 45 degrees. But there is no way. On this point, the system really has this ability, even Long Fei can't stop it. Tell me, how can I go back to the ancient times? Long Fei asked. Regarding the power of time and space, Long Fei naturally knew about it. After all, he used to be the master of time and space, but with the appearance of Long Batian later, that period of karma was over, and he never paid attention to that kind of power. W. Alfaro. Xwo. Net, of course, with the strength of his unique state at the moment, wanting to go back to the past is commonplace. Just going back by himself will definitely attract Dahai and Long Baishan's attention. At this time, although they didn't appear on the stage, Long Fei believed that they must have their own means to capture their own state. If they leave Ming Hai, maybe they will be the first to know. In contrast, it would be better to use the power of the system. Maybe there is the power to evade them. Ding, please choose the means yourself. But at this moment, a response from the system caused Long Fei to explode completely. System, are you a bit shameless? Long Fei was angry. I have already taken a step back. I didn't expect the system to be so stupid, and it wouldn't let me take a step. Ding! Players have misunderstood the system too deeply. You think you can't avoid the power. Can I avoid it? The system responds. It seems that the system also guessed the worries in Long Fei's heart, and at this moment, he opened his mouth to explain, expressing what Long Fei was thinking. Long Fei fell silent. I thought it was a bright future, but I didn't expect it to be nothing but joy in the end. Ding! Players can ask the three emperors of the human race for help. While Long Fei was at a loss, the system said again. Long Fei was taken aback. The three emperors of the human race? Is it possible? Although they are not weak, they are still one step away from the unique state. With their strength, might they hide the truth from Dahai and Long Batian without anyone knowing? Long Fei didn't believe it. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5768. Chapter 5768. But mention the 3 emperors. After the 3 of them were brought back by themselves, they rarely showed up, and they didn't know what they were busy with, acting mysteriously. Ding! Players don't know. The Fire Cloud Cave is not simple. It contains the last fire of the human race. As the emperors of the human race, the three emperors are the power to ignite the fire of the human race. The system continued. Long Fei. Why didn't you say that? Long Fei was paralyzed before he was in Huiyun Cave. He fell into suspicion a few times. The dog system was pretending to be dead. It wasn't until I got this civilization bead that I jumped out. But he didn't say this at the time, and now he repeats the old saying. Obviously, the system must have guessed Long Fei's situation when he was in Huiyun Cave, knowing that Long Fei must study the power of this bead. So at this moment, it is natural to trigger the task. You didn't ask me either. The system kicked the ball directly. Anyway, it is absolutely impossible for him to admit that he did not act. Are you talking to your own system? At this moment, when Long Fei wanted to ask how the system should operate, Ing suddenly asked. Long Fei's expression changed. Can you feel it? This time, Long Fei was too shocked. Feel your scalp tingling. This is something he never thought about. The system has always been his biggest secret. Nowadays, although many people already know that they have a system, they have never noticed the existence of their own system. But now if he wins, it will make his heart suddenly bulge. How do you know? Long Fei asked back. His only worry now is that Ing is relying on his own strength perception. He is transcendence, and transcendence is the only one. If he can perceive it, then Long Batian and Dahai must have their own means to perceive it. That is to say, the conversation between him and the system at this time may also be perceived by the two of them. If this is the case, what about playing with wool? No, don't forget, when you summon me, you also gave me one of these things. And there seems to be some connection between the two. Ing said. Long Fei's eyes moved, and he felt relieved. Immediately, he thought of a possibility. This must be the means that the system made before, so that there is some connection between the two. Otherwise, relying on Long Fei's knowledge of the system, he would definitely not make something that could make another system perceive him. However, what he said makes sense. I think that since all the causes emerged from the Huiyun Cave, there might be a turning point in the matter. Ing said, Omega Omega W. Ah, Net Long Fei nodded www. The novel. Although I am a bit grumpy about the system, I must admit, the system has huge computing power, and the means are even more unimaginable. So what the system said at this time may be the only possibility to find the answer. Thinking of this, Long Fei contacted the system again. System, apart from what you said, there are no other restrictions on this mission, right? Long Fei asked. Ding. The player's cultivation level will be sealed, the system said. Long Fei. Come again. It had been a long time since he had been in a state where his cultivation had been sealed. Thinking back to the past, every time he jumped to a world, it was basically tantamount to starting all over again. I didn't expect to have to relive this feeling now, although a little helpless, but more excited. Long Fei even felt a long-lost excitement. He has been invincible for too long, his strength is crisscross, and he has rarely had the power to give birth to a desperate mentality. Even the experience of the eternal lands doesn't count. Although the land of eternity is dangerous, its own strength is always there. But now he is completely sealed. Ding! A friendly reminder. If the player is in crisis while repairing the seal, he will also die in the dungeon. In other words, if the player has an accident while performing a mission, many things will change, the system said. Long Fei was taken aback. This sentence made Long Fei hesitate. He can fight, but if it will affect everything that has happened now, Long Fei is unwilling. Now in the First Supreme World, his relatives have just stabilized. If an accident happens that affects them, the result will be an uncontrollable state. This is definitely not what Long Fei wants to see. System, can I refuse? Long Fei's voice was heavy. Ding, players can choose to refuse, but don't forget what the system said before. The system will have the opportunity to recycle the system that was made, and Ing will return to the original world when the time comes. Long Fei. This is already a threat. That is, he has no choice. Ing was listening the whole time, seeing Long Fei's state. He also fell silent. www. Kaho 5. Net he knew the seriousness behind this matter. Because once any accident happened to Long Fei in the ancient years, it meant that he himself would disappear and die. That is to say, he died in the past. A person who died in the past is naturally a person who does not exist now. Then everything he did before will naturally change accordingly. This is the butterfly effect. Pull one hair and move the whole body. Even he didn't have the courage to make a decision about this kind of thing. Not to mention anything else. It is unknown what kind of era the primordial age was. But for sure, it was absolutely terrifying. In such a world, without any strength, it will be difficult. Ding, don't worry. The player, there is a system. The system will guide the player step by step, and will never let the player burp easily. The system continued, but Long Fei sneered. Count on the system? That is impossible. Although Long Fei didn't dislike this kind of slave who was already a slave of the three families, how could he dare to trust him easily? That would be putting his life on someone else's body. Ding, player, what is your expression? Are you suspicious of the system? We have come all the way, and it is no exaggeration to say that we live and die together. I have never abandoned you. How can you show such an expression? You are the biggest insult to a system. Seeing Long Fei's expression, the system immediately became irritable and began to refute. Who gave you the courage to say such things? Liang Jingru? Haven't you ever given up? With the total death, you have the face to say it too? Long Fei was speechless. The system is becoming more and more unscrupulous now, and it really shocked him that he could even say such a thing. Ding, player, you have to be clear that is a special situation. If it is not a special situation, the system will never make that kind of decision. Moreover, it is a kind of test for you by the system. It turns out that your strength is still reliable. You do it perfectly every time. The system continued. Shut up, stop talking nonsense, and go to Huiyun Cave. Long Fei interrupted the system. Since you can't change it, you can only accept it. This path is his only choice now, and he must do it. Soon, Long Fei found the three emperors, and they returned to Huiyun Cave. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure, you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself, in addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position. Sure, you also found 3 books beside it. Sure, you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure, you... The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure, Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 57, 69. Chapter 57, 69 in Huayun Cave. Long Fei and the others reappeared in the room where they appeared before. My lord, do you still have the futon you took away? Fuxi asked proactively. Huh, is that a prop? Long Fei's heart skipped a beat. Along the way, he had already explained his plan. When the 3 of them heard that Long Fei was going back to the ancient times and ignited the fire of the human race, their expressions were extremely excited. Especially Fuxi. He is even more clear. When he first discovered the civilization of the human race, it was because of the guidance of the fire of the human race. It is precisely in this way that he has become the emperor. There are also human races in this prehistoric land. That's why he was extremely active along the way. I don't know, but I need to deduce it. My innate gossip can only maximize its power when it is on the futon. Fuxi said, he has nothing to hide. Facing Long Fei, their strength was insignificant, and they were not that stupid to compete with Hao Yue. Therefore, they did not have any taboos, and frankly admitted their shortcomings. Long Fei nodded, and without further ado, he found the futon directly. Fuxi sat cross-legged on it and swiped his hand. Boom! A picture of innate gossip suddenly appeared in front of everyone, and with the operation of innate gossip, Fuxi's face became more and more ugly. Looking at this innate gossip, Long Fei's mind was flooded with thoughts. It has to be said that although he has reached the unique state now, seeing this power at this time, he still feels shocked in his heart. This kind of power is extremely mysterious. It seems to contain the root of heaven and earth, which makes people obsessed. But he was still able to keep his mind clear. No matter how strong this power is, for him, he believes in absolute power, and only in this way can he stop the apocalypse in the years to come. Puff! But at this moment, Fuxi suddenly spurted blood. He was also extremely pale. Kappa with acute delta 5. Net, and the innate gossip he had drawn collapsed suddenly at this moment. My lord, I have deduced it. It does contain your power to return to the ancient times. However, it is not on the 3 of us. Fuxi said. His face was extremely serious, and he was somewhat troubled. Long Fei was taken aback. This expression. Could it be that something happened? With a sinking heart, Long Fei asked, if you have something to say, just say it directly. No need to hide it. Yes. Fuxi sorted it out, and then said, my lord, if you want to go back to ancient times, you need not only the souls of the 3 of us, but also the souls of Nuwa's sister. Fuxi said. Long Fei's expression changed. He never expected that such power would be involved behind this, especially Nuwa, who actually needs Nuwa's soul power. This is something that Long Fei cannot do. He didn't want to take the risk. Now, Nuwa is his woman. If there is any accident along the way, Nuwa may die. Long Fei would never take risks with his own women. No, this road will not work. If you need to take risks, then I would rather not take this road. Long Fei said. His expression was extremely serious, and there was no trace of joking. Fushi's eyes were full of gratitude. Long Fei brought them out of Huayun Cave before, which was already a life-saving grace for them. Now that this emotion is shown again, they are extremely moved. But how did they know they were just incidental, and what Long Fei really cared about was only Nuwa? Don't worry, my lord, it's not that dangerous, but the spirit power of the three of us can only maintain the passage for half a month, and the soul power of Nuwa's sister will follow you back to the ancient times, and the current spirit will return to the ancient times. The most she can last is 10 days. That is to say, if you can't do what you want to do within 10 days, Nuwa's sister will be in a fatal crisis. And if your lord can't return within half a month, the three of us will die here too. Fushi said. He comforted at first, but then went on to explain. If you ponder down, reminiscent of what the system said before, I feel extremely helpless in my heart. There are only 10 days. There is no month at all. If I really keep the time at 1 month when the passage is closed, I am afraid that I will really die in Taiku. Dog system, tell me the truth. Have you been bribed and deliberately trying to kill me? Long Fei asked in his heart. Nothing. Don't listen to their nonsense. The system blurted out and denied. It is impossible to admit such a thing, not to mention that there is no evidence. Even if it hit him in the face, he would not be able to admit it. Double your alpharo. Xwo. Net he knew Long Fei too well. And with Long Fei's temper, if he was really determined, he might destroy himself humanely. He will do it even if it is to clear the soul. Snort. Long Fei snorted coldly and ignored the system. I do. At this moment, a voice suddenly appeared. It is Nuwa. Long Fei frowned. Why are you here? Brother Fushi informed me that you were coming to Huayun Cave, and I had a feeling in my heart that it might be related to me, so I followed along. Nuwa said, but at the moment she is extremely dignified. It is not the supremacy of the Saint of Heaven, but the stalwart of being the mother of the human race. Long Fei, I know you are worried about me and don't want me to have an accident, but this time I hope you can respect my decision. Long Fei was silent. He could hear the determination in Nuwa's words. Okay. Long Fei agreed. He has no way out at this step. If he gives up, it means that he will be the first to leave the competition among the three. The price of leaving is to lose the cause of disaster in this prehistoric world. Although this power is not necessary, it may affect the apocalypse. This is a very intuitive feeling. It's hard to define. But at the level of Long Fei, any thought may change a lot. Moreover, the power he controls now also shows that he has really returned to the primordial prehistoric times. That's right. Didn't you say that you saw a lot of pictures? If you don't go back to the ancient times, how can you put the civilization of the human race here? Nuwa said. Long Fei nodded. Let's begin then. Long Fei is not a hypocritical person. Since he decided to do more, there is nothing to hesitate. The three emperors nodded. Immediately, the three sat down cross-legged. In the next moment, the mysterious light flashed on the three of them, and a group of spirits that belonged to them emerged. And with the appearance of the soul power of the three people, a mysterious colorful light suddenly rose in the entire Huayun Cave. This light is like a rainbow. Soon, it turned into a channel. Ing looked on in surprise. It's a strange power. It seems that there is a power that attracts the other side of time and space. Ing said shockingly. At this moment, he was indeed shocked. Even at his level, it feels unbelievable. The two time and space seem to have been implicated for a long time, as if between the ages, the other side of the ancient time and space is waiting for this kind of power to attract. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's gaze was serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5770. Chapter 5770. There seems to be some connection between the two. A sense of vastness and vicissitudes spread over the surface. Long Fei could even clearly feel an aura that did not belong to this era, emanating from the other side of time and space. That breath is extremely ancient, and there are many terrifying breaths surging in it. Of course, this horror is relative. That breath is infinitely approaching the only realm. But it is also approaching. The overall water is roughly equivalent to the 9th level of the Apocalypse realm, similar to the current by Qi and Wang Jian. But even this is enough to describe it as horror. You know, how many such existences there are in this piece of world today, it is not too much to describe it as rare. This is already the strongest existence under the stranger. But at this time, the breath coming from the other side of time and space is clearly a group. In other words, in the prehistoric era, there were countless strong people. My lord, the passage has been opened, but there is still one last step left. At this time, Fushi suddenly said. While speaking, he looked at Nuwa, only one step away from Nuwa. Long Fei also looked at Nuwa with complicated eyes. To be honest, if possible, he didn't want Nuwa to put herself in danger. After all, this mission is extraordinary. If he couldn't complete his task within 10 days, then those who waited for Nuwa would be lost. But Nuwa seemed to be waiting the most. The moment she made eye contact with Long Fei, her spirit came out of her body, and then directly merged into the passage opened by the three emperors. And as Nuwa's soul merged into it, the channel instantly became radiant. Then, the scene on the other side of time and space is directly presented in front of you. Long Fei, my life and death are in your hands. Nuwa Qian smiled. Don't worry if I can't complete the task. Then I will collapse the whole Taiku, and I will protect you well. Long Fei said. In the next moment, his figure disappeared directly, turning into a beam of light and disappearing. Everything in the arena returned to calm. But what they don't know is that at this time, they are above the heavens of this prehistoric world. Dahai and a Taoist were staring intently at the Shuangguang mirror in front of them. In the scene, it was the scene of Long Fei passing through the time-space channel and disappearing before his eyes. After all, we have reached this point. Dahai seemed to be sighing www. Novel. Come, La, since you expected him to take this step, why didn't you stop him? With your means, it shouldn't be difficult to keep him in this wild world, the Taoist said. It doesn't make any sense, said the sea. Even if I can stop him from taking this step, it still can't change anything. I have deduced this scene countless times. Even if I prevent him from returning to the ancient times, it still can't stop him from creating the civilization of the human race. Dahai said, even you can't stop it, so why continue to fight fearlessly? The world just goes with its own course. The Taoist's voice was heavy. This Taoist is naturally Hongjun, but at this time, he is a younger brother in front of the sea. Even if he is a sage of heaven, he is not enough to look at in front of the sea. You seem very unconvinced. Dahai said, leisurely, this is not your world. You came here, opened up this place as your battlefield, and changed the operation of this world. Should I still be grateful to you? Hongjun said dissatisfied, but there is no way. In the face of this kind of existence, his dissatisfaction is useless. You have to be clear, this world contains the power he needs, and this is destined to be here where he will come. Dahai said softly, what does he need? Hongjun asked back, as the way of heaven. Naturally, Long Fei's arrival has long been here. It's just that he couldn't perceive Long Fei's roots with his strength, so he ignored it, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't dare. Now, it is even more shocking to learn from Daheku that there is actually the power that Long Fei needs in this world. Causes of robbery. There are many causes of robbery. Dahai said, Hongjun, what is the cause of catastrophe? Dahai murmured slightly, across the void, and vertically calamities will come. All kinds of calamities will appear in the heavens due to various reasons. What he needs is the cause of these disasters. Dahai said, then why do you say that the world wants what he wants? Hongjun's face became serious. If it was said that Long Fei and the others were somewhat repulsed before, now they are only shocked, even flustered. He never thought that there would be such a weirdness behind his own world. You don't know what's going on in the prehistoric world. Don't you know how many catastrophes have occurred since the appearance of this world? The sea asked back. Hongjun fell silent. There will be catastrophes in all the heavens and worlds, but it is the only one that happens so often in this world. Dahai said. Hongjun didn't say a word. Only then did he understand the crux of the problem. It turns out that this is the root cause of everything. But if he goes back to the past, will he have an impact on the world? Hongjun asked, Omega W. Net, traveling through time and space, this kind of power. Even if he is the way of heaven, he has never controlled it. No, to be precise, even if he had mastered the power to traverse time and space, he would not dare to do it. Don't remonstrate with the past. This is a rule. The past cannot be changed, and it can affect the whole body. The past has been fixed in time, and any slight change may lead to unknown disasters. It is precisely because of this that he is extremely worried when Long Fei travels back to the past. Don't worry, he naturally understands what you understand. And how do you know that he is destined to take this step now in the macro time and space? Dahai Yu said with a deep expression. Capre with a cute Delta 5. Net Hongjun froze for a moment. His eyes gradually calmed down. If he cares, he will be chaotic. This world is his foundation, and he can become the way of heaven, because he himself becomes the way of heaven. If anything changes in this world, even he himself will definitely be affected. But what Dahai said now made him think on a deeper level. Yes, from the perspective of eternity and time and space, the choice Long Fei made today is not a kind of destiny. Besides the two, there was another person who was also paying attention to Long Fei all the time, although he didn't see the picture of Long Fei leaving. But the moment Long Fei left, he suddenly opened his eyes. It was Long Batian. Long Batian's eyes were extremely heavy. It is completely two people, with the bold and unrestrained appearance before. No wonder you asked me to make him the master of time and space. Presumably it was for this moment. Although the secret key of time and space has disappeared, the secret land of time and space is still in this ancient place in the prehistoric world. Dahai, OC, I can't understand more and more what's so special about Long Fei. It's worth paving the way for him. Long Batian said secretly in his heart, but at this moment, a figure suddenly broke in. My son-in-law, someone is here and wants to see you. See me? Long Batian became interested. Now he is in nothingness, and the person who can find here is not ordinary. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls, Shiryu. The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you? In the last one. Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5771. Chapter 5771 at their level. It is easy to open up nothingness. Long Baishan's character is wild and unrestrained. He was extremely wild when he was in Long My Mountain, and now he has no restraint in this place of origin. Here is still a sea of beauties on the beach, red wine on deck chairs. If Long Fei was here, he would definitely be shocked too. Maybe they will yell. He was still in a state of desperation and couldn't figure out anything. Long Batian has already become a son-in-law here. Is there any reason? Is there still Wang Fa? Long Batian glanced at the other party indifferently. If he wants to see me, he will see me? Wouldn't it be embarrassing for me to tell him to wait? Long Batian said, casually, but his voice fell. You are so arrogant. If I want to see you, do I have to wait? Suddenly a voice came. Immediately afterwards, a figure floated in, came to him, and sat on the chair next to him as if no one else was there. Grass, what class are you? You sit in the same chair as me. Long Batian was furious when he saw the person coming, and after a word, the scene in front of him changed and returned to chaos and nothingness. But only a moment later, the scene changed again. This is a palace hall. www. Kaho 5. Net Ing Gao sat on the dragon chair. Now we sit differently. Ing said slowly, you are playing with fire. Long Batian said coldly, yes, now they are not a class. But in this picture, Ing is above the throne, but he is below the hall. The grade is different, but he is obviously much lower. The next moment, he waved his hand casually. Then, the scene in the field changed again, directly back to before. Tell me, what do you want from me? Long Batian didn't continue to entangle on that issue. That kind of method couldn't be put on the table. There was no need to fight for the strong and the weak. Let's talk about Long Fei. Ing said, Long Fei? What's there to talk about? A little Kurami. He has no chance of winning this battle. Long Batian snorted. He was so domineering, he didn't take Long Fei seriously at all. You don't know anything about Long Fei. Ing Dandan said. Long Baishan's face sank. What did you say? Even if the person who brought Long Fei and you out takes Long Fei very seriously, you still dare to underestimate him. You are really ridiculous. Ing said frankly without showing mercy. Then, how much do you know about me? Do you think that if Long Fei has you, he will win? A cold light flickered in Long Ba's eyes. They are all unique. They naturally have their own arrogance. How could they easily admit cowardice? No, Long Fei has never had the possibility of failure. If you can still regard this as a competition between the three of you, you are already doomed to fail. Ing Tundun said. Long Batian was taken aback. What do you mean? Logically speaking, the two are enemies rather than friends. Ying's existence is definitely Long Fei's spokesperson. In this battle, Ing represents Long Fei. If it weren't for his unique ability, Long Batian might not even be interested in meeting him. It's very simple. You just want to fight, you want to defeat your demons, and prove that you are better than Long Fei. But your point of view was wrong from the very beginning. Long Fei didn't want to fight with you guys just to prove anything. Competition. The one behind didn't join this competition to prove that he has absolute control. Ing Dandan said. Long Baishan's face became heavy. He never thought about these things. From the beginning to the end, he thought that Long Fei dragged him into the robbery just to compete. But now as Ing spoke, he gradually realized that he was dominated by his own obsession. He wanted too much to prove that he was stronger than Long Fei, so didn't think more about it at all. But next, Ying's words made him change color instantly, without any sense of aloofness. Have you ever thought that Long Fei is walking a road of awakening? novel. Calm, a muddled world. There is no light here. But it's not pure darkness either. It's like returning to the mother's womb. Longface slowly opened his eyes. Omega Mega W. Ah, net incomparably depressing. At this moment, he felt as if he was in a coffin, oppressed and uncomfortable. Is this still in the mother's womb? Grass, what the are you playing? System, don't be kidding me. I only have 10 days. I don't need to seal my cultivation. Now, if the mother's womb is reborn, let alone complete the task, I'm afraid it will be over before the birth is too late. Long Fei felt desolate, very helpless. It's so nonsense. It was the biggest mistake ever. He wants to travel through the ancient times, not go back to the furnace and rebuild. Ding, please don't lose everything. You can see your current situation clearly. It is impossible for the system to make such a low-level mistake. The system voice appeared. Hearing the system sound, Long Fei also settled down and immediately began to perceive his current situation. This is chaos. Suddenly, a clear understanding arose in Long Fei's heart. The system, didn't you mean going back to the ancient times? But the current situation looks more like chaos. Long Fei said, although the prehistoric world here is different, it is not absolutely different. For the division of Taiku, it should be the era when the monster race ruled the world. But that's not the case at all now. The transmission path is the player's choice and has nothing to do with the system. The system simply failed and did not admit its own problems at all. Long Fei, what a dog! If Eugene hadn't seen the shamelessness of the system more, and Long Fei's ability to resist blows had been greatly improved, he would have smashed the system at this time. Compared to the system running away at a critical moment, this kind of thing is simply a small scene. But Long Fei will not sit still. Leave the system alone. If this is in the chaos, it means that the sky has not been opened at this time. What I have to do now is to find Pangu and let him open the sky. Or, instead, I will open the sky. Long Fei thought about it. He can't just do nothing and let things take their course. He has only 10 days. If the task cannot be completed within 10 days, Nuwa will be in danger of life and death. He may not care about the outcome of the prehistoric world, but it is impossible for him not to care about Nuwa's life or death. With this in mind, Long Fei began to try to move. It's just that what Long Fei didn't expect was that his thoughts seemed to be able to affect this chaos and run amok. His consciousness dispersed, wandering in this chaos. Soon, he spotted a figure. This figure is in the center of the chaos, and the whole body is full of precious light, as if there is an incomparably magnificent power in the body. But this power was felt by Long Fei, but there was an extremely shocking thought in his heart. I'm born to be the only one? Is this world so scary? Long Fei suddenly withdrew his consciousness. At that moment, just now, he felt that the figure wanted to open his eyes. He even felt that as long as he was one step short, he would be discovered by the other party. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure, you also found 3 books beside it. Sure, you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5772. Chapter 5772. There is an indescribable breath in that body. But that was just one of them. What really shocked Long Fei was that he was born the only one. This is something he never thought about. Is this place really a prehistoric world? It's too scary. Long Fei felt shocked for the first time. Kenshu, Zai with grave after he broke through to the unique realm. He felt that no power could really move him in the future. But the scene just now directly impacted his soul. Born to be the only one. This is something he has never encountered. He made hundreds of turns and repeated breakthroughs in countless worlds before finally breaking through to this level. He never thought that someone could be born unique. System, what kind of world did you send me? Long Fei frowned. He is now feeling uneasy. With this power, he will struggle. He is currently in the state of sealing his cultivation base. If his cultivation base is still there, maybe he can still fight. But now, there is no chance at all. His cultivation base has been sealed. And now, in this chaos, it can be said that he is extremely weak. Although the current chaotic world looked ordinary, Long Fei knew very well that if the power here exploded, he would not be able to contend with the power of the elements of the world. It's difficult. Don't say that there is no opening of the sky now. If Pangu opens the sky at this moment, I will be the first to die. Even 3,000 gods and demons can't bear the power of opening the sky, and they have to hide in the depths of the chaos. Judging by the strength, I'm afraid I won't be able to withstand even one wave. Long Fei thought to himself, open up the world. Although he has never seen that kind of power, he still understands the power of a unique state. Moreover, this is a chaotic world. He can be unscrupulous. It is unimaginable how terrifying it is when the power of a chaotic state explodes. For a moment, Long Fei felt heavy in his heart. Of course, the system naturally chose to lie down at this time. At this time, it is impossible for him to come out by himself. After the only time, the existence of the system is more like a drag bottle. No, I have to find a way to improve anyway. After a while, Long Fei calmed down. No matter what the current situation is, he has no choice. He only has 10 days to either die in this chaos or break this chaos to complete his mission. But Long Fei will definitely not wait to die. Especially since this task is related to the life and death of Nuwa, he can't afford to bet on it. Thinking of this, Long Fei once again radiated his spirit, spreading it little by little. This may be a bug. Although his cultivation base is sealed, the power of the soul that belongs to the unique realm still exists. At this moment, his thoughts are flying fast, and the entire chaos is shrouded in him. But there was no movement in that body. He didn't notice Long Fei's actions. Soon, Long Fei discovered chaos, 3,000 gods and demons. These 3,000 gods and demons are also extremely tyrannical, and each of them has a power that is not inferior to the only one. But compared with the Pangu that he had seen before, there was still a big gap. Moreover, they were still in a deep sleep at the moment, but Pangu had already shown signs of awakening. According to the current situation, if I want to wait until Pangu opens the sky, I'm afraid it will take a while. I can't afford to wait. Either wake up Pangu or replace him. I will open it today. Long Fei thought in his heart. This is a decision made after observing the entire chaotic world. Of course, he had another choice, which was to wake up Pangu and force Pangu to take that step ahead of time. But this step is more risky. With his current state, it is very difficult for him to play well and survive without loss after Pangu opened the sky. Since Pangu can't wake up, I have no other choice. Only that step, I will open the sky. Long Fei made up his mind. System, don't pretend to be dead. If you continue to pretend to be dead now, then you might as well die together. Long Fei contacted the system in his heart. His power is sealed, and the only thing he can count on at this time is the system. He didn't believe the system would be powerless. He might have thought so before. But now that he came to this chaotic world, he realized that the system still had power that he didn't know. For example, seal. He is the only realm, but under the task, his cultivation base and strength are really sealed. That is to say, there is some kind of force in the system similar to rules. No resistance, no escape. And at the same time, this thought also gave him a deeper guess. That is, maybe one day the only thing I want to find is the system itself. Or that step is to go beyond the rules of the system. Ding, players, don't force others. I'm just a system. Long Fei, shut up. I don't want to listen to nonsense. If you want everyone to finish playing together, then continue to play dead. But I can guarantee that before I die in this chaos, I will definitely do one thing. That is, you get killed. System. Ding! The system sensed that the players' emotions were on the verge of losing control, and the system chose to avoid it. Long Fei, try, as long as you disappear at this moment, I will end the mission immediately. Then you will be buried with Niuhua. Have nothing to say. With previous guesses, Long Fei felt that the system was pretending to be a grandson and was hiding something from himself. In this case, Long Fei naturally had nothing to keep. System. The system no longer responds, but it has never avoided it and has always been on. Half an hour. The system voice suddenly appeared again. Ding, congratulations to the player for awakening the devouring skill. Ding! Devouring has no limit. Players can devour any power in the chaos to break through themselves. The system responds. Long Fei's eyes lit up. Really? This system really hides a lot of things behind its back. This kind of strength is exactly what he needs at this moment. With this method, he can guarantee that he can regain his strength in a very short time. Wait until I return to the only one, www. The novel. Come La at that time, you can try to open the sky. The light in Long Fei's eyes flickered, but at this moment, the system sighed. But Long Fei didn't care about it, since now that the desired power has been obtained, other things are no longer important. If the system wanted to lie dead, he wouldn't care. Soon, Long Fei cut off the connection with the system and looked at the system panel. Swallowing skills, forging black hole physique, born out of the power of chaotic black holes. Everything returns to chaos, and everything returns to black holes. Seeing such a system introduction, Long Fei was amazed. The dog system has a lot of means. With such power, even the only one is jealous. Long Fei sighed, but soon he was shocked. If there is no limit to this power, does it mean that I can swallow these 3,000 gods and demons? Even Pangu WWW. Novel. Calm. An idea floated in Long Fei's mind. Immediately, his eyes became crazy. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. A novel app that has been running stably for many years, comparable to the old version of the book-chasing artifact, the source-changing app used by old bookworms, Huanyuan app. Org. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5773. Chapter 5773 in the Chaotic World. A figure began to shuttle frantically. Wherever he passed, wind and clouds swept away, and any elements of heaven and earth were swallowed up and disappeared. Ding! Congratulations to the player for breaking through the Return to Ruins realm. Ding! Congratulations to the player for breaking through the 2nd level of Return to the Ruins. Ding, ding, ding. The sound of the system was numb, and it hadn't stopped since Long Fei devoured it. The power of this chaotic world is simply the power of good fortune to him, although his cultivation base was sealed, but this power made him repair it again. The pure elements of heaven and earth, fire, water, and wind, these 4 forces baptized him. And at this moment his body is full of this force. And his cultivation has also been soaring all the way, and he has already entered the 6th level of the Apocalypse realm. In less than a few realms, he will enter the unique realm again. But at this time, the sound of the system prompt slowly slowed down. System, what's going on? The elemental power here hasn't decreased. Why does my power increase, speed slow down? Long Fei asked. He was very puzzled. You will know once you feel your body. The system is no longer broken. Useless. It can also be said that Long Fei's threat was really useful, making him not dare to be too presumptuous. My body? Long Fei was a little puzzled, but soon he understood the meaning of the system. He checked his body. It's like a black hole. The body of a black hole. Long Fei's eyes were filled with surprise. He has seen a real black hole, and the power in it is extremely terrifying. If he hadn't been strong enough at that time, he might not have been able to get out of the black hole. System, you did a good job this time. Long Fei was excited. I haven't felt this way for a long time. He has been invincible for so long that he has become numb and lost the original feeling. But now in this chaotic land, he regained his original mentality. The crisis is imminent, but the courage to move forward. You may regret it. At this moment, the system voice said suddenly. But Long Fei had an inexplicable feeling. Regret? Crazy. If you can develop a black hole physique in this chaotic world, swallowing everything, thinking about it will blow you away. Why would you regret it? Listen, what are you talking about? How can I regret it? However, the power of the elements in this chaos seems to be insufficient now. It is not enough to support me to continue to break through. Do you say that I am devouring 3,000 demon gods, or swallow the air of chaos here? Long Fei asked. He needs to improve. At this moment, Pangu was born and unique, but he has not yet awakened. This proves that the power of Kaitian requires at least a single realm. But at this moment, he is still a few levels away. But now the power of the heaven and earth elements here is not enough. It has reached a saturated state. No matter how much it swallows, it is useless. Therefore, at this time, Long Fei turned his attention to the 3,000 demon gods. But at this time, he was still a little apprehensive. Although the 3,000 demon gods still have some gaps compared to Pangu, they are also in the only realm. If they wake up during this process, it will be very troublesome. It might even bankrupt his plans. The system advises players not to continue devouring it. The system continued. Long Fei pondered for a while. The system is a little weird. If it was before, the purpose of the system was to let oneself develop. But since he became the only one, the system seems to have been acting as a stumbling block. If it wasn't for my threat this time, I might not even give myself the method of swallowing this black, whole body www. Novel. Come. Impossible. You should know how much I care about the people around me. Now, it has nothing to do with the mission, but with Niwa. Long Fei said, if the mission fails, he will die. Moreover, Niwa may face the ending of her soul flying away, which he does not want to see. It was precisely because of this that Long Fei was so determined. But judging from the system's reaction, Long Fei didn't want to pay attention to it at all. He didn't know the reason why the system would sing against him, but his will would not change, not to mention the system, even the sea. In the next moment, he directly cut off the connection with the system. With my current strength, if the 3,000 demon gods wake up, although there is no danger to life, it may even cause Pangu to wake up. When Pangu opens the sky, I may fall into crisis. Long Fei analyzed. His eyes locked on the land of chaos in front of him. This place is full of weirdness. If he is not careful, he may fall into a desperate situation. www. Novel. Calm. La. I don't have much time. There is no concept of time in the chaos. But according to what I'm devouring right now, 2 days should have passed. Long Fei continued to think. Time is running out. He only has 10 days to get out of the land of chaos, find out where the power of human civilization comes from, and even ignite the fire of the human race. Suddenly, Long Fei frowned. In this chaotic land, the sky is not open. Where are the gods everywhere? Long Fei seemed to have grasped the key point, and suddenly felt a chill in his heart. If there are no gods in this era, then there is no way to complete this task. In other words, the system gave itself a mortal mission. Could it be that the system really has Nigu and wants to bury me in the mission? Long Fei's eyes were unprecedentedly serious. The posture shown by the system is completely different from before. It is said to be a system, but the posture shown is more humane than the original artificial intelligence brain. Except for the lack of a human body, what it shows already has a very clear humanity. As soon as this idea appeared, Long Fei couldn't calm down. Calm down, calm down. Long Fei forced himself to calm down, while constantly analyzing the changes in the system in his mind. The first change of the system was in the eternal land. After I died, the system should have been shattered logically, but at that time the system reappeared as I was reborn and stepped into the unique realm. That is to say, if there is a problem with the system, it has already started since then. Long Fei was silent, not even daring to move his thoughts, for fear of attracting the system's attention. And in that period of time, the only one who had this ability to make the system regenerate with me without anyone noticing and even betrayed was Hi. Long Fei shrank. In an instant, he felt as if he was caught in a conspiracy. That's right, I've been walking all the way, and I can basically confirm that Dahai has put a lot of thought into my system. He is the only one, and he is the only one who can make the system betray. A novel app that has been running stably for many years, comparable to the old version of the book-chasing artifact, the source-changing app used by old bookworms, Huanyuan app, org. But what exactly is he going to do? With his power, if he really wants to kill himself, it's possible. Long Fei's mind was in a state of confusion, and countless thoughts were turning in his brain. Although this was a guess, it shrouded Long Fei like a shadow. Gradually, Long Fei's eyes turned cold. No matter who it is impossible for him to kill Long Fei. Since there is no in this world, then I will create a god. In this way, the task will be completed when the time comes. But the top priority is to open the sky. Right now, the only thing that can allow me to reach this point is to devour 3,000 demon gods. The light in Long Fei's eyes flickered. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure you also found 3 books beside it. Sure you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure you. The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, pet breeding base, trainee pet keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5774. Chapter 5774, The Abnormality of the System, made Long Fei uneasy, but it also stimulated the blood in Long Fei's bones. No matter who it was, he would have to pay the price if he wanted to plot against him. Not even the sea. In an instant, Long Fei's figure rushed out. After a few breaths, he came before a demon god. This demon is still in a deep sleep, but the breath is really the only one. A fierce look flashed in Long Fei's eyes, and without hesitation, he directly used the method of devouring. In the next moment, a demon was disintegrated at a speed visible to the naked eye, and streams of pure power crazily poured into his body. Ding! Congratulations to the player for breaking through the 7th level of Apocalypse. The sound of the system rang again. But Long Fei was too lazy to pay attention. Long Fei has already decided to deal coldly with this young man of the system and put him directly in limbo. Roar! Suddenly, at this moment, the demon who had been swallowed by nearly half of Long Fei began to roar. Then he opened his eyes suddenly. Looking at Long Fei, who was devouring him in front of him, a look of incomparable anger flashed in his eyes. But Long Fei didn't care about it, but continued to devour himself. Ding! Congratulations to the player for breaking through the 8th stage of the Apocalypse. The system voice reappeared. Long Fei was still indifferent. Time is ticking. At this time, the demon has awakened. What he has to do is to completely solve the demon before it resists. Otherwise, if the demon revolts and triggers a war of chaos, he will completely lose his chance. Roar! This chaos demon god was roaring, struggling to get up. But unfortunately, at this time, he is already at the end of his strength. Moreover, there seemed to be a force in this chaos that was suppressing him, making it impossible for him to break free. Long Fei seemed to be thinking. It seems that only he is the only free person in this chaos. However, he didn't think too much about it. No matter what the reason was, it was best for the demon to be suppressed at this time, so that he could devour it conveniently. Ho ho! This demon was still struggling at the end, but it was at the end of the road. Under Long Fei's devouring, it directly collapsed, visible to the naked eye. And Long Fei's cultivation was also at this moment successfully breaking through to the 9th level of Apocalypse. And it is the pinnacle, and it is only one step away from the unique state. Long Fei's eyes flickered, and he completely forgot about the system's previous nonsense. For him, strength is the only thing. One demon raised my strength to the 9th level of the Apocalypse. Even though the unique realm is difficult to cross, but the two sides have caused qualitative changes. I don't believe that these 3,000 demon gods are not enough to support me to do this. Long Fei's heart gradually settled down, and a look of madness flickered in his eyes. In the next moment, his figure wandered in the chaos and approached another demon god. On the prehistoric continent, in Zixiao Palace, several figures stood facing each other. What's going on? Can you give me an explanation? Didn't you mean the final competition? Why does it look like a group of us are revolving around the dragon? This is Dragon Batian. When Ing said that sentence before, he felt faintly uneasy in his heart. Immediately contact the sea. That's why today's Xixiao Palace meeting happened. In the arena, apart from Long Batian and Dahai, there is also Hongjun. It seems that Ing told you. However, he doesn't know enough. Dahai said calmly, his face a little heavy. Omega W. Ah, net. So, what's the situation? What's the origin of Long Fei? Long Batian looked towards the sea. For the sea, he is more familiar than Long Feier. After all, before Long Fei appeared, he was the protagonist in this world. It's just that Dahai later said that there will be a catastrophe between the heaven and the earth, and if it can't be stopped, all living things in the world will be wiped out. At that time, countless galaxies will fall into silence. There will be no more traces of life. So from then on, he was forced to withdraw from the stage of history, after tens of thousands of years of silence. Only then did Long Fei rise gradually. But he always thought that no matter how strong Long Fei was, even if he became the only one, he was just a younger brother brought out by Dahai, who was cultivated to deal with the catastrophe of the world. At least until now, he always thought so, but at this moment, he felt that his cognition had been subverted. The words Ing said lingered in his ears even more at this moment, and it lasted for a long time, which made him feel extremely bored in his heart. He said, "Have you ever thought that this is Long Fei's road to recovery?" At that time, this sentence was like a bolt from the blue. After all, at their level, sometimes a single thought can deduce changes in the heavens. But Ying's words directly made him see the destruction of the world and saw an indescribable and irresistible force enveloping countless universes. And then it's all over. He may be the biggest cause of disaster in the heavens. Dahai said, "Long Batian, I'm stupid. Chaotic world. Long Fei has already killed madly, devouring madly." He could clearly feel that his physical body had completely transformed into a black hole physique. Possessing all the power of the black hole, he can devour the power of everything in a radius of tens of thousands of miles with a simple move. Kappa with acute delta 5. Net including the elements of heaven and earth, including chaos itself. Even the more he swallowed, the more excited he was. The increase in strength obsessed him. But at this moment, he has devoured more than 2,000 chaos demon gods. As for the power, it is boundlessly approaching the unique realm. It's so cool. My strength is increasing crazily, although I haven't broken through to that level. But I can feel that my strength is no less than that of the only level at this time. Even if it is Long Batian, I can do a battle. Long Fei was extremely excited. Before, he always thought that the unique state is the absolute existence, and the power under the unique state is absolutely irreversible. But now, Long Fei seemed to have discovered a new continent. The essence of power actually has nothing to do with realm. He has walked along the way, and the cultivation level is equivalent to nothing to him, and killing people by leapfrogging is even more common. It wasn't until he broke through to the unique realm and saw the horror of the unique power that he came up with a kind of thinking. That is, the power below the unique cannot threaten the existence of this realm. But at this moment, this thinking is directly broken. Although I am not the only one now, the power swallowed by a black hole is stronger than the black hole itself. WWW. The novel. The black holes existing in the deep space of the universe need to be accumulated day by day, and it takes countless years of changes to strengthen them. But he is different. What is directly devoured is a piece of heaven and earth. The elements of heaven and earth, the power of chaos. and even the strong in the unique realm are his nourishment. This is also doomed. His black hole experience is absolutely invincible. Just like now, a chaos demon god can't make any waves in front of him one bite at a time. However, the creatures in the chaos seem to have sensed the crisis. Some demon gods have awakened ahead of time. It seems that I must hurry up. Also, I heard that the creation green lotus was bred in the chaos. I don't know if I can have the power of creation after devouring this power. Long Fei thought. Immediately, his figure turned into a ray of black hole light and moved forward again. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. In view of the general environment, this site may be closed at any time. Please move to the permanent source replacement app, Huanyuan app. Org, as soon as possible, he took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5775. Chapter 5775. The world of chaos has undergone earth-shaking changes. With the appearance of Long Fei, the entire chaotic world has long been in chaos. The power of the elements of the world has disappeared, and even the energy of chaos has become extremely thin. Along with Long Fei's and scrupulous devouring, the demon gods also woke up one after another. At this time, deep in the chaotic world, where is Pangu? If Long Fei was here, he would definitely be shocked. Pangu, whom he had been worried about all along, had already awakened. However, it did not directly open the sky as the legend said. He got mixed up with the demon god directly, and beside him is a green lotus blooming 10,000 zhang in the chaos. Pan, what's going on here? Didn't the consciousness given to us by chaos mean that you came to open the sky? Now, this is a creature that ran in. It's so cruel that less than 100 of our 3,000 demon gods are dead. Yeah, it's terrifying. If he didn't devour it too violently, causing chaos, heaven, and earth to give an early warning, we might not be able to wake up, and we might not be able to escape the fate of being swallowed by then. It's scary to think about it. Yes, the appearance of this person has broken the rules of chaos. It's too terrifying. The demon gods gathered, but at this moment their faces were filled with fear. A bad name is useless in front of Long Fei's terrifying power. Any bad name is a joke. I don't know, but he seemed to be next to me when he just arrived. It's just that he was just an extremely weak consciousness. I thought it was a creature conceived by chaos, so I ignored it. I just didn't expect that such a short time he can grow to such a degree that he has already threatened you and me. Disc said. He, of course, is Pangu. They were not at war at this time. Just as a demon said before, their existence was conceived by chaos, and chaos also gave them consciousness. Naturally, they all knew that under the rules of the coming of chaos, all they needed to do was to wait for the sky to open up and completely create a world. And they are silent in the chaos, waiting for the first era to open. WAP. K with Macron nu sh mu 5. Net, but now it seems. What a fart. They are basically dead. There is no other way. Since this existence can conceal the perception of the chaos matrix and possesses such a terrifying, devouring power, it is impossible for us to avoid it even if we want to, Pan said. In a sense, he is also one of the 3,000 demon gods. And it is the strongest, because he is the first creature conceived by chaos. Therefore, his words are also very leading. As soon as he opened his mouth, many demon gods fell silent, but their expressions were extremely serious. What do you mean? You can't avoid it. Do you want to fight him head-on? A demon asked. He took stock and nodded. No, you have never seen his power. We are food in front of him, one bite at a time. If we really want to stop him, I'm afraid we may not be able to stop him for a while. He objected directly. Since they are conceived creatures, they must have already had their own consciousness. Seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages is the instinct of a living being. Long Fei's strength gave them a fear they couldn't face. If they didn't want to avoid the fate of being swallowed, how could they come here? A novel app that has been running stably for many years, comparable to the old version of the book Chasing Artifact, the source-changing app used by old bookworms, Huanyuan app. Org. If you can't, you have to. Don't forget, chaos is our matrix, and her will is the mission we have to fulfill. If we can't stop him, chaos will be destroyed by then. Do you want to see it? Pan asked. Immediately, he turned his gaze to Wanzhong Qinglian beside him. This is my accompanying treasure. Although it is not yet mature, it is too late now. As he spoke, he slowly got up, and then casually grabbed a giant axe from the chaos. Boom! With a sudden swing, the giant axe erupted with a monstrous divine light in his hand. Katsa, Wanzhong Qinglian fell to the ground. In an instant, several lotus seeds flew out of it. The lotus seeds fell to the ground and bloomed, turning into 3-color refining one after another, gold, red, and black, respectively. Whoosh! Afterwards, 3 figures rushed forward to fight for the 3 lotus flowers. Hey, according to the guidance of the mother body, it should be after I open the sky that the power of this green lotus will turn into a treasure, generate civilization for this world, and make the world good. But now we are facing the enemy, and we have nothing to do gone. Pangu's eyes were extremely complicated, but at this moment he didn't have any hesitation, and the next moment he shot again. Ha ha ha! The white lotus root was cut off and turned into a whisk. Then Qinghe was split open and turned into a long sword. Then The red flower also gradually changed and finally turned into a jade wishful handle. And this stem also lost control and turned into a scarlet spear the moment chaos landed on the ground. Okay, originally this power shouldn't have only bred this little thing, but now that it is destroyed in advance, it can only be derived from these divine treasures. Next, let you and I use this power to see who is disturbing our world. Pangu's face was serious, but what they didn't know was that they were on the edge of chaos at this time. Long Fei had stopped devouring. He could no longer find the strength to devour it. Moreover, in front of him, there was a human face. This face is naturally transformed by chaos. Did you ever think about the consequences when you did this? The voice was a female, so why? Kenshu. Zai with grave, Long Fei frowned slightly, feeling surprised when he saw the person who suddenly appeared in front of him. Who are you? Long Fei asked. I am the spirit of chaos. You can also call me Dao. The voice responded. Spirit of chaos. Long Fei's eyes shrank, a little apprehensive. But soon, this fear disappeared. WWW. Novel. Come, this is the spirit of chaos. If I swallow it myself, does it mean that I can step into the only one step ahead of time? And if I swallow Pangu and other demon gods at that time, my strength may surpass my peak. The more I think about it, the more possible it becomes. Even the eyes that looked at this chaos spirit were full of greed. You want to devour me? Chaos spirit asked suddenly. That's right, I devoured the elements of heaven and earth in this chaos. I devoured the demon god, but I feel that this kind of power is not enough for me to open the sky. If I devour you, maybe it will be enough. Long Fei's eyes sparkled. In other words, never have I longed for it like this moment. It was as if there was a voice in his heart telling him that as long as he devoured the spirit of chaos, his mission would be easily completed. You have been confused by your obsession. I can feel that you have a great power of disaster. Your existence is the cause of destruction created by higher civilizations. It's just that someone has been helping you suppress it. But if you devour me, there will be no turning back. The chaos spirit said suddenly. Long Fei was taken aback for a moment, and then a look of disdain appeared on the corner of his mouth. What the hell? Are you crazy? I am a good person, and I have been working on how to solve the apocalypse calamity. Why suddenly became the cause of destruction? How funny. Long Fei didn't take it seriously, thinking that the chaos spirit was only afraid of death. So he would say such a thing. No matter how much you say, it won't help. Since you are the spirit of chaos and the Tao, then your existence should be above the Tao of heaven. Maybe you can swallow you so that my power will be closer to perfection. At that time, I will come today, come on. I will create the world and the creatures. Long Fei said. The madness in his eyes was burning like fire, and in an instant, he rushed towards the spirit of chaos. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.